Heyo, and welcome back. It's been a long weekend. I had more or less the entire weekend off because this weekend uh, it's a lot of birthdays in my family. Late April, early May. As a matter of fact, between April 16 and May 15, I have 3 of my 5 siblings, 2 of siblings' significant others, 2 nieces, and 1 nephew. Myself is within that range. My dad is within that range. 1 cousin and his kid, and a few others. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the reason why we all have our birthdays at that span is in July, August is the Swedish summer. So everybody is on vacation at the same time, and 9 months later, we. So that is why I had very little output on my channel this weekend. And on Friday, the 10th, is my birthday stream. So please join me on Friday. Yeah, okay, we have a trial to do. Now, when we left off last week, George made a ruling. Then Miss Love nagged on him until he more or less changed his mind, but he deferred it. And now, when they got together, they, yeah, let's see if the judge stuck with his ruling, shall we? Welcome to the show. Yeah, so again, they should have started between 8:45 and 9 a.m. and they didn't. They started around 9:30. And oh, by the way, my apologies for those who were up at 4 a.m. your time. That was my fault. I set the time for this stream at my 10 a.m., not your 10 a.m. So there was a few hours discrepancy there. But thank you for the bunch of you who showed up and was wondering, why hasn't the stream started yet? Yeah, I forgot. I have to set it. Your 10 a.m. is my 4 p.m. I have to remember that. Sal asked, did they say what happened to the juror yet? No, only that she was back. They on Wednesday evening, they said that the prognosis was good and she should be back Monday. And it seems she was. And that is all that we know. But let's listen to Judge Glanville and see if he actually stuck to his prior ruling or if Miss Love nagged his donkey ears off.
All right, good morning, council's interested parties. We're back on the record of the matter of the state of Georgia versus Cleef Adams et al. In 22 SC 183572. I want to take roll. Mr. Stillwell, Mr. Botts, and Mr. Good morning. Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith, Mr.
George, turn off. When you lean forward, please turn the microphone off. No more accidents.
Okay, matter of housekeeping before we go ahead and get started. Our juror that was ill last week is back with us and has provided me a return to work notice, which I will mark as the next court's exhibit in order and place under seal. consistent with what I indicated to you all last week. You're welcome to come and look at it if you like, but that's kind of consistent with what I told you. All right. Mr. Sharp, last week when you were making your argument when we closed off, I did have an opportunity to take a look at the transcript. It was unofficial rough transcript was provided by Ms. Weaver. And I'll include that as the next court's exhibit in order as well.
Yes,
And the
Judge.
colloquy you and Ms. Love had last week are just a brief snippet of that goes as follows. Ms. Love, in your honor, my colleagues are reminding me that this may have been already deemed admissible. But if they're wrong, we're going to play it anyway.
This has already been ruled admissible. Here's the thing about that thing. It was admissible under a very, very narrow and specific purpose. And then Miss Love said, yeah, we're going to play it anyway. Hello, Nana Misty, and thank you so much for your $5 super chat. Good day, Nicholas, mods, and chat. Hope you all had a good weekend. I had an excellent weekend. Thank you so much. I hope the rest of you had one too. Thank you so much for your support, Nana Misty. But again, Miss Love said, oh, we're going to play it anyway. That's on the record.
And you, your honor, that's a complete misstatement. Me, the court, let me hear it. Mr. Sharp, I brought it to your attention. You said you need to understand the context of everything before you make rulings. And I said, let me hear it. I did take a look at the transcript from our hearing, and I did have a chance, and it was also consistent with Mr. Steele's.
Consistent with, which we all know, is a word salad word. Consistent with is he opened his mouth and sound came out. That is consistent with him speaking. The same with Miss Love. She opened her mouth and sound vomited out, and that is consistent with speaking.
Bringing to my attention Baker, and then I heard Stillwell's 1 and 2. I did, in fact, make a ruling, and the ruling is subject to foundation. So
that, see here how he doesn't quote the transcript? That is because his ruling, yes, it was subject to foundation to a very narrow and specific purpose. Now, all of a sudden, away with that specific thing is only foundation.
But I did state earlier in the hearing that it would be, of course, I'd look at it in terms of context, but I did at the end analysis make a ruling. So it's subject to foundation at this point in time. So I'm satisfied that I made the correct statement. All right.
He started with, let's just say a few snippets of the transcript. And then, yeah, that's a face right there of a person who knows he is moving the goalpost so it's more or less out of bounds.
Okay. All right, consistent with, last week, the state did send out the 2 recordings. When are we going to get to those, ladies and gentlemen from the state?
Your Honor, I don't believe that we will reach that today.
Okay,
It will probably be Tuesday or Wednesday, actually.
all right. So we got a little more.
Those recordings she was hoping to get to last week. And this is, when it comes to the judge's time management, because we know he's annoyed by how long this takes. I could almost bet good money on once it gets to the defense case in chief, he will limit their time. Because, this trial is taking so long, so now I'm going to have limits on it. I can almost bet good money on it.
More time. Hey, were all the defense counsel able to listen to those jail calls that the state was going to play this week, the ones that we were trying to listen to Friday? Is there anybody who was not able to open it? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to assume that you all had an opportunity to listen to it. We can take up any issues relative to that later. But unless there's anything else, who do we have on the stand last? Ms. Ladders?
Yes.
Okay, so we need is she outside? Okay. Is there anything I need to take up before we bring her in? All right, if not, let's go ahead and bring Ms. Lattners in, please.
Yeah, okay. And now I'll
So our
put
name
it
and
up
knowledge
to
yours, President?
1.25
Okay.
speed, so we get somewhat caught up. And as per usual, I will do up until lunch. Tomorrow I will start with a recap of the afternoon, and then we will catch up until lunch, and so on the rest of the week. So you know what's going to happen going forward. Where are all my YouTube viewers? Why do I only have 20 viewers on YouTube? This is strange. Oh, they will show up. I'm sure of it.
Your Honor, we'll go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Some of our jurors, please. Yeah, going to Texas. So.
Do you want to see it?
Oh crap! I forgot to mute myself while I did a clickety-clackety. My apologies, but my excuse is my keyboard has it has button. I mean, it has.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
It's lights.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, jury, good morning. Glad to see all of you back. Ms. Lattners, you're still under oath, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Ladders.
Good morning.
I'm going to pick up where we left off. I'm handing you State's Exhibits 2 Echo Alpha through Charlie. Ms. Ladders, do you need any more time to review those exhibits?
No.
What are 2 Echo Alpha through Charlie?
Audio for this case.
And is that Charlie that you just picked up?
Yes.
And what is the 2 documents, Alpha and Bravo, before you?
She was on the stand a couple of months ago regarding radio traffic and stuff like that. And I assume this has something to do with that. So it will be interesting.
Can't report for the incident for that day.
And how are you able to recognize her?
Well, I print them out. My name is at the top, and it says Atlanta Police Department. It's our CAT report.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction, Ms. Latner, of the CAD reports and 911 call for the April 26, 2015 incident you're here to talk about?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to tender and evidence states exhibits 2 Echo Alpha through Charlie.
All right, any further objection to states 2 Echo Alpha through 2 Echo Charlie? Okay, all right. I'll give you continued objection. They're admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Latner, I'm gonna publish and start with 2 Echo Alpha, which should come up on the screen here. So what was the date of this CAD report, Ms. Latner?
April 26, 2015.
And can you describe what the call type and description is for this CAD report?
Information for officer.
What is a 39 information for officer?
The person just wanted to get information on an incident that happened.
And so is this generated from an officer themselves or a citizen?
It could be a citizen or it can be an officer.
Now, what was the location for this info for officer?
3376 Peewee Road, Northeast Atlanta.
What was the zone
Let's try it down there.
for that location?
The zone is zone 2. The beat is 208 speed.
Now, Ms. Latner's a little bit towards the top where it has the disposition narrative.
One thing here. Last time she was on the stand, she only referred to radio traffic, and then the prosecution played tiny snippets, and that opened the door for the defense to speak about the surveillance video in the laundromat incident, if you remember that one, where every cop on the stand said, oh, no surveillance video, no surveillance cameras. And in the radio traffic, the defense could show not only were there surveillance camera, the cops at the scene were watching the surveillance video, but somehow it's missing. Isn't that strange? It's missing, like the expert we had on last week, who reports magically missing. And hello, you over at the Rumbles.
Can you tell the jury what that indicates for this call?
He advised 9 to Cobb County.
What does that mean?
That means the officer handed the information over to Cobb County.
Now, could that ever occur if the jurisdiction of crime is in a different county?
Yes.
Now, what time was this call received?
03:24 a.m. hours.
And what time were officers dispatched?
03:24.
And does it say, what time did they arrive?
03:27 a.m. hours.
Now, Ms. Latner, I want to talk about, if you turn to page 2, the CAD narrative, do you see that?
Yes.
You see the third remark from the top? The time is 3:24 and 40 milliseconds.
Yes.
Can you read that and explain what that means?
The unit advises dispatcher shots fired at a bus. Little Wayne's posted on the bus.
And what is the follow-up right beneath that? Also at 3:24 and 40 seconds.
At the
Also, if you missed out on this last week, Lil Wayne, this is his tour bus. You would imagine, because they have talked about Lil Wayne, about the beef and everything, and Lil Wayne has been on the state's witness list. But the defense revealed that not one person from the prosecution's office have ever contacted Lil Wayne's himself or his representatives? Never. You would imagine that if Lil Wayne is the victim of a crime, that he would be called as a witness. But the prosecution just put him on the witness stand and has no interest in calling him as a witness. My hope is that the defense can call him. Because why not? He is not on trial. He is a victim in this underlying charge, in one of the underlying charges. And they refer to some of his videos, some of his statements, but they will not call him, the prosecution will not call him. Why is that, do you think? Well, maybe because Lil Wayne can get up on the stand and tell Miss Love that she is a hoo-ha, and she speaks out of her hoo-ha, and it's smelly, and she is wrong, and she's lying. So that's not word for word. That's just not verbatim. But it would be very fun if it did.
Marion Hotel, units are out with the bus.
And at the very bottom, when it has M type 25 and 39, what is the 25?
25 is a shot fired.
And what does that mean when it goes from 25 to 39?
The unit advises dispatch changed from shots fired to 39, which is information.
Now, Ms. Ladner, I'm going to publish and talk to you about 2 Echo Bravo. Is this the same date, April 26, 2015?
Yes.
Now, for this, is this a 911 call or info for officers? What generated this call?
It's a 911 call.
Is it the same location and zone beat that you just described?
Yes.
What time was this call made?
03:24 a.m. hours.
And Ms. Ladders, if you take a look at the CAD report we just discussed, how close in time is this 911 call to when the info for officers call was generated?
It's around the same time.
You see the CAD narrative at the bottom, Ms. Ladders, bottom of page 1?
Yes.
Now, the fourth from the top, the time is 3:28:50. Are you able to read that and explain for the jury what that means on the CAD report?
The 911 call advised the tour bus en route to location being shot at. Call advised a rapper, Lil Wayne, called and told him they was being shot at while entering the location.
And you see the second from the bottom, it starts with CN. What does that indicate?
They canceled this incident and related to the incident 1511-60447 because they both around the same time.
That makes sense. And is that second from the bottom that says units are out with the bus?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Ladner, the audio that you have, 2 Echo Charlie, does that 911 call correspond with this CAD narrative?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state's going to publish 2 Echo Charlie.
Darn it, I keep forgetting that I clickety clack. Sorry, folks. Woohoo. Let's listen to this.
Atlanta 911, this is operator 6580. What's the address of the emergency?
Yes, ma'am. We need some officers at the Mandarin Oriental right now.
What's the address?
Because we have
What's the address? What's the address?
3376 Peewee.
3376 Peewee Road. Now, what's going on?
I mean, we have a group, the Little Wayne group. You know, they are coming to the hotel. They said that they have some people who are pulling them and shooting at them. So now they are just about to come and park in our hotel right now. So they need some police around.
They said somebody's been shooting at them?
Yes, that's what they said.
Okay, are they black, white, or Hispanic?
Huh?
Are they black, white, or Hispanic?
Yes, I mean, it looks like black people. They are with Little Wayne, the rapper.
They're with Lil Wayne, the rapper?
Yeah, the group, yes, his group members.
Okay, how many are there?
Well, I don't know exactly how many of them are in the bus. They are in the bus.
Are they they're in their bus?
Yeah, they are in the bus, but they are on the way coming to the hotel. They said that they have these guys following them, so they are coming to park in the hotel.
They have somebody following them? Did they give a description of who's following them?
No, they did not.
Okay, what's your name, sir?
My name is Ismaila.
Spell that.
Ismaila.
And what's the number you're calling on?
Your Honor, we're pausing the phone number that's stated at 1 minute and 30 seconds on 2 Echo Alpha Charlie.
Five zero.
How far away are they from you?
I don't know how far they are. They just told me that they are on the way, and then they just ring up.
All right, we'll get somebody out there.
Okay, then thanks.
Thank you. And Your Honor, just for the record, we resumed it back at 1 minute and 37 seconds.
All right.
Ms. Ladders, when we had just discussed a couple minutes ago on 2 Echo Alpha, that CAD report under the CAD narrative, when the call changed from 25 shots fired to 39 info, do you remember that, Ms. Ladders?
Yes,
What was the time that the call type changed?
06:24 a.m. hours.
Thank you, Ms. Ladders. No further questions for Boss State, Your Honor.
Cross. Mr. Adams, go ahead.
Ms.
Good morning.
welcome back. Pass that up,
You may, sir.
you got the camera boards in front of you, though, right?
Yes.
You might have to grab these for a second and just reference some items on them. And I'll show it to you in a second. That's okay.
Am I chat frozen? I haven't
So,
seen anything since
to kind
Tom's
of-
house.
If I can sum up what I heard you testify to, there's a 911 call that comes in at about 3:24 in the morning of April the 26th. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. The CAD reports make reference to the calls, and there are 2 calls. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, I want to ask you about 2 Echo Bravo, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. One more time, Judge. All right. So this is the CAD report that you referenced earlier. It was up on the screen. And did I hear you read out this portion where it talks about the call coming in a tour bus in a route to a location being shot at?
Yes.
Okay. Now, according to the CAD report, the caller advised that Lil Wayne called and told him they were being shot at while en route. Is that right?
That's what it says on the CAD report.
Okay. Now, I heard that one 911 call played. Is there another 911 call from someone identifying themselves as Dwayne Carter or Lil Wayne that you're aware of?
I can't advise, no.
Okay. Now, these were calls that came into City of Atlanta 911. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, are you aware of any calls that would have come into Cobb County or Marietta or any other jurisdiction in regards to this incident?
No.
Okay. If there were a call that had come into a different jurisdiction, I'm just asking now about how 911 dispatches work. If there were a call that had come into, for example, Cobb County 911, and it was related to this Atlanta call, would there have been something indicating that a previous call had been made to Cobb County about this?
If Cobb County called 911.
Okay. But as you sit here and having reviewed the documents, you have no indication that there is a separate call from anyone named Lil Wayne about this incident. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I noticed that the 911 call that was played was an individual who was relaying what was being told to him by someone else. Is that what it sounded like to you?
He advised third party.
Okay, so that person was saying what a third party had told him, and that person was calling into 911. Is that right?
Your Honor,
Basis.
calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Am I correct that the person who was making the 911 call was referencing, as you listened to it, was referencing what had been told to them by someone else?
Correct.
Okay. Am I correct? There was no description given of whatever or whoever was shooting at the bus on that 911 call. Is that right?
Correct.
There's nothing in either the 911 call or the CAD report that gives a name or a description of a person that is supposedly shooting at the bus. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
I said this last week, and I also wrote it over at the Twitters. The way the prosecution is handling this Lil Wayne thing makes me question the validity of the case way back then. Because they caught someone, he made a plea deal, and that was the end of it until now. But after listening, because Fulton County Jail is very close to hell on earth. And I can't say if I ever was in this situation, because I'm actually going to Atlanta in August. If they put me in there under those unsanitary conditions with the violence and the 10+ killings that happens every year in the jail, if somebody put a piece of paper in front of me after being in Fulton County Jail for a month in 23 hours a day solitary, I honestly can't say if I just, all right, I'll sign it, just get me the F out of here. Wear a bulletproof vest in the Atlanta. Yeah, I might be. Fundraiser for personal protection.
I didn't hear I couldn't make out the name of that person who was calling. Were you able to make out that name by listening to that 911 call?
He spelled his name.
Okay. I didn't make out the spelling either. Is it in the CAD report?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what is the name in the CAD report? How is it spelled, please?
ISMALIA.
ISMALIA.
Yes.
Okay,
Ismail?
all right.
Who that?
And if I'm correct, and then please tell me if I'm right or wrong, the first CAD report makes reference to a call that came in from a location on Peachtree Road. Actually, both of them came in from Peachtree Road. Is that right?
First call came in when officer pulled out with his dispatcher. It
Okay. And the second one,
was a 911 call.
okay, when the incident is actually taking place,
Yes.
or what the caller said about what happened during the incident. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Ms. Latners, hold on 1 second for me, okay? 1 second, Judge.
Yes, sir.
I think that's it. Ms. Latners, thank you, as always.
Any additional cross, Mr. Short?
Before I answer that, may I just look at the CAD reports?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Latners, you have both of them?
Yes.
First of all, I don't see myself as an internet celebrity at all. And we do in Sweden have PewDiePie. So
Anyone
have
else?
some competition.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Latners, when we were discussing just a minute ago with defense counsel about if Cobb County had called 911, you could be routed, can you explain that? What did you mean by that?
If something happened in Cobb County and they noticed person's en route to Atlanta, Cobb County would either transfer the 911 call over to us, or someone from Cobb County would call the supervisor that's in Atlanta, advise them the incident was going on.
And if they do not know that they're en route to Atlanta, do you know what would happen in that circumstance?
We won't get a call from.
Thank you, Ms. Latners. No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. Adams or Mr. Short?
No.
Anyone else? All right, may Ms. Latners be permanently temporarily excused the witness.
Temporarily excuse, Your Honor.
Sorry, Ms. Latners. All right, okay. Madam, I'm going to temporarily excuse the witness. Please don't accept testimony anybody except.
This poor woman is going to be here again and again and again every time they need somebody to admit phone calls or 911 calls.
The attorneys in this case. All right.
All right, who is the next one then?
All right, call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Say call Mr. Alvin Lewis to stand.
All right, summon Mr. Alvin Lewis, please. Mr. Lewis, good morning, sir. Sir, if you would please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you would be so kind to turn and face Sergeant Ingram to be sworn as a witness before you sit down, sir.
Oh, we get to see him? Oh, barely. There's a lot of calls going on.
Alvin Lewis, Alvin Lewis.
Miss Hilton. Okay. Is he a former cop?
Yes, that's what we discussed last week. Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Lewis. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Where are you from?
Los Angeles, California.
And were you born and raised in Los Angeles?
Yes.
And what part of Los Angeles were you born and raised?
Little Merck Park area.
Okay. And how old are you, Mr. Lewis? I know you don't like asking that question.
I don't mind. It's 66.
All right. And are you married?
No.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
And how old are your children?
Objection on irrelevance.
Overrule, sir.
30 and 40-ish. 40.
All right. You don't really remember. That's okay. And any grandkids?
Yes.
Okay. This might not mean, I mean, people kind of forget stuff when they get up on the stand, especially if there are civilians. But you should be able to narrow it down to at least 41, 42, 31, 29, 33, not 30, 40-ish.
How many?
Just one.
Overrule, sir.
Just one.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Mr. Harvey's asking for the witness to be speaking to the microphone.
Sure.
I heard it, Mr. Harvey. I relayed the message. Okay, all right, sir.
And do you work?
No, I'm retired, actually. I just filed for retirement.
Okay. And where did you retire from?
That night that I was shot. This incident happened.
Microphone, sir, if you wouldn't
The
mind.
night that this incident happened is when I retired.
And what was the industry that you retired
I
from?
work in the entertainer industry, transporting entertainers, athletes, different.
Oh, this is the bus driver. Well, that means he filed for retirement now, but this incident is almost 10 years old. So, okay.
People.
And we're going to talk more about that in a moment. In retirement, are you working or doing it and have any hobbies that you're doing while in retirement?
Yeah, I have started a little pizza business
Okay.
to keep me occupied
And how long have you had that business?
for 2 years.
Now, you just talked about the night that this happened. You retired from being a tour bus operator. Are you referring to the shooting in April of 2015?
Oh, just for purposes of direction. So let's get to it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Are you referring to the shooting in April 2015?
Yes, I am.
As a result of that shooting, do you have a pending civil matter?
Yes, I do.
And who are the defendants in your pending civil matter?
They are listed in the 108.
How is this even remotely close to being allowed in that he has a civil matter pending? If it's pending, this goes to Jesus Christ. Oh, for fuck's sake. This shouldn't be allowed in at all. Because what if the civil matter gets thrown out? But it's still evidence in this trial. No. And if he had a civil matter ongoing since 2015, what? Or did he file it once he knew this was about to happen? What the yeah, let's just continue.
The page police report that I have a copy of, and my attorney has a copy of.
Let me ask you this, is YSL Enterprise, one of the defendants in your civil matter.
Yes, they are.
And is an individual.
While we listen to this, I'm going to look for that civil suit to see exactly when it was filed.
By the name of Brian Williams, also known as Birdman, a defendant in your pending civil matter.
Yes, he is.
Okay, and what about an individual by the name of Jeffrey Williams?
Yes, he is.
What is the current status of your pending civil matter?
Objection is the relevance.
I'll rule the objection, sir.
It's actually been on stay since filed.
I can't hear, I'm sorry.
It's been on stay since I filed it after this incident, a couple of years after the incident happened.
And do you know what has caused the delay?
I try not to. I let the lawyers handle that. I try not to get involved with that.
Okay, this civil suit was filed in 2016. Why is it still pending? Is it because they have added a bunch of people? Past year. And here it says Alvin Lewis filed it in the Rolling Stone. It said he filed it in 2018. No, that was in 2018, the Cobb County DA was investigating, but no charges were filed against Thug and Birdman. Dun, dun, dun. I'm looking more and looking more. And here it said in 2018, Alvin Lewis filed a lawsuit. And apparently nothing have happened to that for the past 6 years. I will try to find that. But let's keep listening.
Fully understandable. Do you know what is the amount of damages that are being sought in your pending civil matter?
Somewhere around $30 million.
Back then it was 250,000. Let's see here. No, he alleges that he was offered 250,000 and a Porsche in 2018. $30 million. Okay. That is, unless he was lethally wounded. Yeah, exactly, Sebastian. How is this relevant? This, I don't know. It's because if he loses and it's thrown out in a year from now, then it has zero relevance at all. Now, even if he won a civil suit, that might have relevance. But this is, it's almost as if this has been pending for so long just because I don't know why it has been pending for so long. Hello, Slidey Pie over at Rumble.
And does that civil matter have anything to do with why you're testifying today in this case?
No.
Ha! Bullshit.
Now, tell the jury a little bit about what you did as a tour bus operator.
It was our duty to maintain the bus, maintain.
Here's the thing. If, say, that they are convicted and Mr. Lewis is a part of that reason, then he has a better chance in the civil suit.
At the safety of passengers and get from point A to point B as safely as possible, and on time. We had a responsibility for their lives and for their safety.
And you said that you retired. How long were you working prior to you having to retire?
25 years. 25 years in the bus business.
And in that 25 years, was that primarily as the tour bus operator?
Yes. Well, sometimes it would get slow in the season, and I had a car hauling business that I would go home and haul cars. I worked for the studio in LA, and but most of the bus, yes.
In order to be a tour bus operator, you had to have a special license.
I had a Class A from the age of 18.
And for those of us who might not know, what's a Class A?
Class A is pretty much A. You can do pretty much whatever you need to do. You can't haul explosives. You can't, haul petroleum. I mean, diesel, fuel, gas tanks and stuff. But I was able to do what I.
And is a Class A license the same as a CDL license?
Yes. Yes.
Now, you said you had your tour bus, or excuse me, your CDL license or your Class A license since you were 18. Initially, when you received your license, did you start out as a tour bus operator?
No, I actually first bought a truck, a dump truck, and went out by the airport, taught myself how to drive it, and then went and got my license. A friend of mine drove the truck home, so I wasn't doing anything illegal on the street. Yeah.
When you were like, let me ask you, are you still licensed? Do you still have your
No,
Class A
I
license?
surrendered it then, back then.
When you had your license, were you licensed in one state or multiple states?
Multiple states.
What were the states you were licensed in?
We were able to go to all the United States and Canada. We drove everywhere.
And I knew you drove everywhere, but who issued you your license?
California did.
Were you issued a license in any other state?
I was issued one in Florida because I was working so much in and out of Florida that I didn't have a chance to get back to California to get my license renewed. So I just got it renewed in Florida for a short time. Then when I got back to California, I went back to license in California.
Okay. How did you get into the field of tour bus operations?
I was asked to actually to do a tour. I had a Subway sandwich at the time, and I had foot surgery. And a friend of mine was a partner in the tour bus business, and he's asked me to do one tour, and I went out and did it, and I liked it, so I ended up selling the Subway sandwich and went on the road.
And I'm sorry, what are you saying about the sandwich?
Yeah, Subway sandwich.
You were selling sandwiches,
I had a Subway sandwich business. Just
like the eatery Subway?
Yeah.
I got you.
yes.
Now, over the course of your 25 years as a tour bus operator, how many companies did you work for?
2.
What was the first company that you worked for?
Florida Coach of America, Entertainment Coaches of America.
Did it have another name as well?
Florida Coach, just Florida Coach, yeah.
How long did you work for Entertainment Coach or Florida Custom Coach?
I worked for them for 20 years for 20 years.
And do you remember the years that you worked for that company?
No, I don't recall no, I don't recall. It's from 1990. I know I sold the Subway in the early 90s and went on the road for 20 years. So.
Would that be roughly then about 2010?
Yeah, because you're right. Yes.
And just to be clear, is Florida Custom Coach and Entertainment Coach the same company?
Yes.
And did they have a name change at some point during that 20 years?
Yes.
All right. And where is that company located or headquartered?
In Florida.
Okay. Do you know where in Florida?
Leesburg.
And did Florida Custom Coach, am I saying it correctly?
Yes.
Did they have a certain type of clientele?
Mostly entertainers, music entertainers. They had some athletes, Yeah.
Now, you said you worked for them for about 20 years. So roughly in 2010, when you stopped working for Florida Custom Coach, did you work for another company?
Yes, that's when I left and went to Pioneer Coach.
And how long did you work for Pioneer Coaching?
Approximately 5 years.
And what were the years that you worked for Pioneer Coaching?
From 2010 to 2015.
And where's Pioneer Coaching headquartered?
Madison, Tennessee.
In those 5 years that you were working for Pioneer Coaching Company, were you living in Tennessee?
No, I always lived in Los Angeles. I've always lived in Los Angeles.
Tell the truth, if you were living in Los Angeles, how was it that you were able to drive for both Florida Coaching as well as Pioneer Coaching Company?
I'm gonna stand the objection. Can I speak up?
Now, we spoke about Florida Custom Coach. The Pioneer Coach specialize in a specific type of clientele.
Pioneer, you asked?
Yes.
Yes, they had pretty much just entertainers as well. They did a lot of country because it was out of Nashville, so they did a lot of country. All the country groups in Nashville, they would deal with a lot of those. So yes.
Did they deal with?
Now, it depends on the company, of course, but if a certain company is specialized with having a certain kind of clientele, normally they have do not, what do you call it? Shut the F up clause in their contracts. Now, court case it does override those, but you still have to NDA. Thank you, Nana. They do have NDAs in place just because don't talk about our customers and our clientele. Now, this is a trial, so trials often override it, but it should still be proffered beforehand. And I don't remember this pre-trial, this specific issue.
Any other type of clients outside of the country artists out of Nashville?
Yeah, they did. Yes.
What were some of the other types of genres or other artists?
They dealt with some R&B and some rap. I don't think they liked doing it, but the money was there, so they did it. But yeah.
Over the course of 25 years, how many tours have you driven for?
I tried counting. I think I've got over 100 different tours at least.
And can you tell the juror some of the tours that you've driven over the course of your 25 years? Your Honor, it'll be very relevant. As
Hurry up, okay?
it will-
I'm about to stand the objection, okay? Let's hurry up.
Now, with Pioneer, do they have a fleet of buses?
Yes.
How many different types of buses did they have in the fleet?
They had two different types. They had a Star bus, and then they had they build buses. So whatever the client wants, they build it for the client's needs.
Can you describe for the jury the design of the buses that you would drive for Pioneer?
Mine was a Star bus, which had 6
How
bunks in it,
is
a
this
king-size
even
bed in the
remotely
back.
irrelevant?
Usually have a shower, and just a nice area, kitchenette, and full refrigerator.
And on some of the tours that you did, would the artists have additional items that they would carry?
Yes, I had one of the clients had I was pulling a car behind, and one of the clients I've had a trailer with all their little toys, and one client had a washer and dryer. She didn't like the sheets.
Oh, sir.
She didn't like this. She didn't like the sheets in the hotel room, so she washed them before we go up in the room. I mean, excuse me, they would. I mean,
So when you had those specialized items, how would those items be carried?
in the trailer behind the bus.
And when artists, and I'm going to speak specifically about Pioneer, would the artist select the type of bus they want, select the type of bus that they wanted?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, permission to approach?
As long as you show me the defense counsel.
We provided
Sebastian Miller. No, this isn't the ending of Mr. I don't remember his name. This is about a tour bus shooting. Lil Wayne's tour bus was fired upon, and this is the bus driver. And one person has pled guilty at the time in 2016, I believe. And that was that. Now, Cobb County tried to pin it on Young Thug and other people, but charges were never brought. So, in the eye of the law, that case is solved since long. But this is a RICO trial. where you can bring up stuff that is already solved just in an attempt to get. Look at these people. The bad guys, convict them too. Never mind, other people have already been convicted of it, or charges was dropped, or never brought at all, not even arrests were made. Ignore all that bad things. Listen to the prosecution. Boo, bad man. That's their entire case so far. Ooh, bad man. For over 5 months now. That's the entirety of the state's case. And according to Georgia RICO, that's more or less all you need.
Powerful answers, I'll show them. I'm going to show them what the mark is in 34, 35, 26, 27. No, these are demonstratives right now. You have permission to approach?
You may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit 34 through 37E. I want you to take a look at those and tell me.
Nana missed you. Where does it matter what is in the bus? None of this questioning is important to the case. I completely agree. The foundation in this questioning is, were you the bus driver at the time? Yes. Were you in the bus when it was shot at? Yes. Foundation laid. But here we are, half an hour in, spewing nonsense, because now I assume, as I said earlier, that the prosecution is actively making this trial longer. And I could almost bet good money that once it's the defense case in chief, then the judge will put the hammer down and say, I have to limit your time. I can almost guarantee it.
If 34 to 37E are demonstratives of the types of bus that you would drive when working for Pioneer.
Yeah, guilty by association is the foundation of the Georgia RICO Act.
Yes, they are.
Okay, and are those a fair and accurate depiction of the types of tour buses that you just described to this jury?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, this time the state would like the tender exhibit 34E, 35E, 36E, and 37E for demonstrative purposes.
I didn't ask you yet, but I'm going to. Okay, all right. Any objection to states 34 echo through 37 echo? I'm sorry? Okay. Is it relevant? Okay, you're speaking objection, so is it relevancy you're objecting on? Okay, anything else? All right, overruled, sir. Mr. Adams?
Same objection.
Overruled. Anybody else? Okay. 34 through 37 echo is admitted over objection, may be published as you see fit.
Thank you.
Is it the actual bus or is it different kind of buses? Oh, look, it's a bus.
Now, looking at first exhibit 34E, can you briefly just describe for the jury, overall, we're just gonna focus on the first bus that's in this route of buses. Ideally, the outside, then we'll go on to the inside of how the tour buses generally look when leaving Pioneer Coaching.
How in the flaming fuck is this even remotely relevant? Oh, look, buses. It's a shooting of a tour bus. Show pictures of the tour bus. Why all this? Yeah, and yeah, exactly, Shenigram. This is a long lens that makes all the buses look even bigger. And I have no idea why this is even remotely relevant. I mean, they already know he's
This
a
depicts
bus driver.
just how they
and
look.
the bus was
They're all
shot
cleaned up
at.
and ready to roll.
When you talked about the trailer, is that the item that's on the back of the first bus?
Yes, it is.
All right. Now looking at Stacey exhibit 35E,
Okay.
if you could just orient the jury, and there's a screen to the left of you and a screen to behind you, orient the jury to where you would sit, generally inside of this bus, and then describing what we see in 35E.
You want me to point it?
Yeah, so we can do one of two things. If you touch the left side of here. Oh,
Uh-oh.
so we should be able to draw on here. Sorry, we'll just deal with it as we can.
No. I didn't hear a Brady violation. I heard relevance. It might have been a Brady violation because what does this has to do with anything? Who can profit? This is the actual bus. Is this Lil Wayne's actual tour bus? I don't know. Pictures were not in discovery. Let's go back a bit.
Are demonstratives of the types of bus that you would drive when working for.
Full refrigerator.
And-
We go up in the room, but
I'll just show them the next council.
We provided PowerPoint message, but I'll show them. I'm going to show them what the mark is in 34, 35, 27. No, these are just demonstratives right now.
Demonstrative or
Y'all
just
permission
right
to
now?
approach?
You may.
I'm going to show you what's in market states in 34 through 37E. I want you to take a look at those and tell me if 34 through 37E are demonstratives of the types of bus that you would drive
Types of bus. So it's not the actual bus.
when working for Pioneer Coaching.
yes, they are.
Okay, and are those a fair, accurate depiction of the types of tour buses that you just described to this jury?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, this time to stick with like the 10 to 6 exhibit 34E, 35E, 36E, and 37E for demonstrative purposes.
I didn't ask you yet, but I'm going to. Okay, all right. Any objection to states 34 echo through 37 echo? I'm sorry? Okay. Is it relevant? Okay, you're speaking objection, so is it relevancy you're objecting on? Okay, anything else? All right, overruled, sir. Mr. Adams?
Same objection.
Overruled. Anybody else? Okay. 34 through 37 echo is admitted over objection, may be published as you see fit.
Thank you. Any of the celebrities.
Yeah, so they are just demonstratives, as in this is where I should sit and this is blah blah blah. But apparently this is not even Lil Wayne's tour bus.
Sit up there with you, or any of the other passengers on the bus sit up there with you on your tours?
Occasionally they would, but there is a jump seat. Yes.
When you say there's a jump seat, what do you mean?
Oh, it's a jump seat where somebody else can sit up there and observe, whatever they choose to.
Okay. Looking at exhibit 36E,
Okay.
and you can actually press that left corner again, and there should be a trash symbol or eraser. You can erase the marks.
I'm not a computer person, so hold on.
I mean, if this isn't his actual tour bus, what's the relevance? Oh, you were. I mean, the only foundation. Were you the bus driver? Yeah.
But that's not.
Were you there at that time? Yeah. Can you? I mean,
Do you mind standing up?
Sure.
Okay. Or I can just tell me.
hi Gigi. Everybody say hi to
Just
Gigi,
here,
my
just
first and
tell the
best
judge right
moderator.
now, what area are we looking at, and where is it going into? Describe it.
This is the other side of the.
And can y'all hear him? I guess.
This is the other side of the bus, from the dining area. This is the kitchenette here. This is the full refrigerator here. bathroom on this side, the 2 bunks, or the 6 bunks on this side here. As you get to the back, it's usually a master bedroom back here, or whomever. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Or whoever is, the entertainer, the artist, whoever is on the bus.
And when you said there's 6, is it 3 on the left side and 3 bunks on the right side?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Right in this area. Yeah, there are 1, 2, and 3, and same thing on the side.
on the left-hand side, and then going straight back is a full bedroom.
Yes.
All right, you can take a seat. And then last would be 37E. Is this just another same angle of that interior area that we were just discussing?
Yes, it is.
Now, when you worked for Pioneer Coaching, were you employed directly by Pioneer or were you an independent contractor?
We were listed as an independent contractor. We were getting paid by the individual artists. So, yes.
Now, tell the jury how that worked. Would the artist contact you as a driver, or will they contact Pioneer, or was there a combination of both?
It was a combination of both. Sometimes it would be my artist that I'm dealing with, and I would bring it to the table and say, "Hey, we got a deal." And sometimes it was just come into the office.
And in working for Pioneer, were you assigned to specific tours? Is that a no?
Yeah, I was mostly. Some of the other guys didn't want to do some of the other tours, so I ended up doing most of the raps and the R&Bs and a lot of the other different tours. So.
Now, did you have any input on what tours you worked?
If I brought the tour to the table, yes. If it was just the tour to go on, no.
And explain to me what you mean. If you brought the tour to the table.
Well, if it was an artist that I've dealt with before, and they contacted me and said they want some buses, and I would contact Pioneer and ask if they had the buses, and we put the deal together. If it was something that just came out of the office, then it was just another day at the office working. You just handle the tour.
So if it was a case that came out of the office, will Pioneer contact you and say, "Hey, we had this tour. We're assigning you to this specific tour"?
Yes.
Now, would the artist reach out to you directly, or would their management or someone else on behalf of the artist reach out to you?
It was a combination. I had some artists that I would talk to directly that I've worked with over a period of time, and then a lot of times it was just management or production.
And when you say or production, what do you mean?
Well, a production company that's doing a tour would call and say, "Hey, we got this tour, and can you get buses from Pioneer?" And I would say, "Check it out," and yeah. So we just make the deals happen.
Focus on your time with Pioneer. When you were assigned a tour, generally, how long was the tour? It's going to go into this specific tour.
Let's hurry up and get to that. Okay, so I'm sustaining objection.
Move it, prosecutor.
While
You
on tour,
wasted
were there any
45
requirements that
minutes.
as the bus driver you had to adhere to? Like, did you have to drive certain hours, or did you have
We had a 10-hour limit, and the bus would usually shut down. They're designed now that they will shut down within 10 hours.
And did you have a certain amount of sleep you would have to get as a
Yes.
driver? How much hours of sleep did you have to get?
8 hours off or 10 hours off. 10 hours, you have to have at least 10 hours sleep time before you make another trip
And when you had to get your rest or sleep, would you sleep on the bus or somewhere else?
somewhere else
Or where would you sleep?
at a hotel.
Why didn't you sleep on the bus?
Why did I?
Did not.
Because there's a lot of activity going on in the buses, and we need to get undisturbed time to ourselves to get our rest.
Now, once you were assigned a tour, tell the jurors about how you would get the tour bus to the artist. Would the artist come to Tennessee, or would you have to get the bus and take it to the artist?
We'd pick it up from Tennessee. It only depends on where the bus is. We would go fly in and get the bus and go meet up with the artist wherever they are.
And once the tour was completed, would you return the bus back to Madison, back to Pioneer?
Yes.
Now, when you generally did tours, was it your responsibility to take the celebrity to the event that they were at, say the concert, or were you supposed to take them to the hotel or something else?
We usually either go venue to venue or hotel to hotel. We don't, as buses are usually big, sometimes we have trailers, so we don't use the buses as a taxi cab to run around. We go from hotel to hotel or venue to venue.
Now, when you drove on the tours that you've driven on, was there always just a single bus? Did you have multiple buses, or did it depend on the artist and the tour?
Depends on the artist and the tour. I did tours, we've had 25 or 30 buses on it. Yeah.
And for the tour that you conducted, when there are multiple buses, would the celebrities primarily be on the bus that you were driving or on the other bus, or did it vary?
I would usually have because I had a star bus, so I would usually have the actual entertainer, star, whatever, and I would drive them, yes.
Now, if you were carrying the celebrity or the star on your bus, did you interact with that celebrity?
Not really, not really didn't, no.
In addition to the star, on some of the tours that you've driven, would there be other individuals on that star bus outside of the celebrity?
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
Are you opening doors to see
And in your
if Lil Wayne had
generally, what type of people are on that star bus? With the
interesting people on the tour bus?
I stated yes.
It's usually a lot of their,
celebrity?
okay,
Would they have their managers on the bus?
yes,
Would they have chefs or cooks on the bus?
sometimes they would,
Would they have their security on the bus?
yes.
Did the security
But here's the thing. This is so general. This is about the Lil Wayne tour bus. This case is about not, what happened everywhere else in the company. I don't get. I mean, the foundation is already laid. He was the bus driver on the tour bus at the time of the shooting. You need 4 questions to get that foundation. Now they have been on there for 45 minutes talking about nothing.
generally ride with the artist?
Yes.
At times, would there be other individuals who they may have picked up from the venue?
Yeah, that happens all the time.
When there are people who may not have come with the celebrity, do you do a roll call of us?
No, because I don't monitor their guests.
Because you know what?
I don't monitor their guests, no.
What?
My thing is to make sure that everything is safe and there's not too many people on the bus, and I can do my job in a professional manner.
Now, I want to direct your attention to April 25th and to April 26th of 2015. Do you recall that time period?
Yes, I do.
Were you driving
Few
for Pioneer
tears
Coaching
and emotion.
during that time?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Do you need a moment?
No, I'm cool.
And did you have a driving assignment with Pioneer Coaching during this time?
Yes, I did.
What was your assignment?
I was doing some shows with Lil Wayne, and that was my assignment at the time.
And what type of bus did you have for that tour?
I had a Prevost, a 45-foot Prevost, just what's in this picture here without the trailer.
So would that be the same because it's Star Bus that you've been talking?
Yes, it is.
And prior to April 25th of 2015, had you driven that type of bus before?
Yes.
Now, do you recall, this was on April 25th of 2015, how long you had been on tour with Lil Wayne?
It was approximately about a month, and we were winding down. I think we had the last couple of shows left, so it's been about a month.
Prior to starting that month-long tour, do you recall you picked up the bus in Tennessee?
Yes, I did.
And once you picked up the bus in Tennessee, where did you have to go to actually get Lil Wayne?
If I recall, I went to Miami to pick him up. Yes.
And as a part of this tour, were you the only bus or was there another bus?
There was another bus.
And this other bus, were they with you the entire tour?
Yes, they were. Yes.
What kind of bus was the other bus that was with you on the tour?
It was a same kind of 45-foot Prevost.
Was it a Star Bus as well?
His was a studio bus. Yeah, his was a studio bus because Wayne would jump off and go back onto the Star Bus and do some work. And as we were, moving from city to city, he would be able to do some work out of the Star Bus. I mean, out of the studio bus that was the other bus. Then he'd get back on my bus.
Now, was the studio bus a bus that was a part of the Pioneer Coaching?
No, it was owned by a particular individual, somebody else. No.
And did the driver of that bus, let me ask you, was there a driver on that bus?
Yes.
And do you recall the name of that driver?
I think Travis Patterson, I believe is his name. Yeah, yeah.
And I know the bus did not come from Pioneer Coach's fleet. Did Travis work for Pioneer Coach? Did Travis work for Pioneer Coach?
No, he worked for, he owned his own buses, I believe.
Now, I think you just testified that on April 25th, that was towards the end of the tour.
Yes.
So is it safe to say where you on the tour for about 3 weeks or so prior to this April 25th date?
Yes.
Taking you to the morning of April 25th, if you can tell the jurors where you started that morning of April 25th, 2015.
Started off in Miami, drove from Miami straight to Atlanta. We made a field stop before we got into the city. And then that's when we headed on.
When you left Miami, where was the intended destination?
To the hotel, to the Mandarin Hotel
And where was that Mandarin Hotel?
in Atlanta. Buckhead, I believe.
This should have been the start of the testimony after 5 questions of foundation and then this. Instead, almost an hour of absolute horseshit.
Now, initially, was it on your job for this particular night to get from Miami to the Mandarin Hotel?
Yes.
About how long was that drive from Miami to Atlanta?
If I recall, it was about 9.5 hours, so it was pretty crucial that I went straight to the hotel because time was ticking, so to speak.
Did you make it to the hotel? Well, when you first got to Atlanta, did you make it to the hotel?
No, I believe I got a text message saying that we needed to go straight to the compound, to the club where he was performing because we were behind on time.
And did you go directly to the compound once you initially made it to Atlanta?
Yes.
And when you left Miami, who was on your bus?
It's Wayne and a guy that I believe it was a chef he was, and a couple other people.
About how many people were on a bus do you recall?
About 4, 5.
Do you recall if he had security?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall if his security was on your Star bus?
Yes.
When you left Miami, do you know if there was anybody besides the driver on the studio bus?
That I don't recall. I don't recall that.
When you left Miami, can you describe to the jury what if any move there was of any of the individuals on the bus? Did anyone have any issues or concern driving to Atlanta?
Objections, any hearsay.
I stand as a form of the question. You can rephrase it.
Sure. Did you observe anyone having any concerns about coming to Atlanta?
No, not at all.
Today, can you remember about what time you got to the compound?
I don't recall the time. I know it was probably 10, 11 o'clock p.m.
Around 11.
10, 11 o'clock p.m., I believe.
Now, once you got to the compound, did you immediately drop Lil Wayne off at the venue?
No, we parked a little ways. We parked, and no, he didn't get off immediately. No.
And do you recall where you parked?
There's a street that's next to the compound that we both Travis and myself backed down that street and parked there.
Okay. I'm going to show you it's already been admitted. It's Exhibit 27E and 30E. First looking at 27E, and then I'm going to show you 30E. Does that area look familiar to where you may have parked back in April of 2015?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Actually, do that same stick. Look at 27E and 30. Which is a better picture to show you the area where you parked
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you could just show the jurors, where did you and Travis park your buses?
We both lined up right along here.
Did you line up on the side of the tree, and you're pointing to the exhibit 30E, did you line up closer to the tree side of the picture or the side of the building?
The building side right here.
And did you face towards the street, or did you face, was your front of your bus face towards the street or towards there's like a rail yard behind it? I'm sorry, rail yard?
Yes, we actually back down here, which we always do, so if we can always get out real easy, we can drive straight out, so yes.
Okay, so you were facing the stop sign? The
Yes.
front of the bus is facing the
Yes.
stop sign, thank you, yes. Once you and Travis parked your buses down there, you good?
Yeah.
Once you and Travis parked your buses down there, tell the jury what you recall happening once you had your buses down up there.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Do you recall what happened once you and Travis parked your buses down on that street?
We sat there for a good little while, and then finally somebody, if I remember correctly, security came and walked him up to the building and down that street. Yeah.
Okay, and when you say walk them down that street, are you talking about the street that you were parked on or the street that's perpendicular to the street that you're parked on?
That street the club is on, just past the stop sign, turned left and went up the street to the club.
And once they got Mr. Little Wayne off of that bus, what do you recall happening next?
We sat there for a good little while, and then somebody came up and told me to move up right next to the building, move my bus up there. So that's what I did. I pulled up right next to the building and parked.
What about Travis? Did Travis bus move or only your bus?
I was the only one. He had the studio bus, so I guess they were utilizing my bus, because Wayne was on there. So they used just myself.
About how long were you out there before you were actually moving your bus to closer to the venue doors?
It had been a good little hour and a half or so.
Now that night out in this area, can you describe, was it crowded? Was it not crowded? If you can describe to the jury, what was the crowd like out there that night?
There was a lot of people just out in the street, just a lot going on. Yeah.
Once you moved your bus to the front of the venue, what did you do?
I parked, then kind of tidied up my bus and stuff, and sat there and just waited, for whatever was going to happen.
Were you waiting inside the bus or outside the bus or something?
I was inside. I did a walk around my bus to make sure everything was fine. Just observing my bus. Yes.
While waiting for the bus, did anything occur?
Yeah, a couple of guys came up, or one guy, if I remember correctly, came up and said,
You're right, we're not offering for the truth of the matter asserted. Offering for the
Overrule
fact
the
of the-
objection. Overrule the objection, sir.
Go ahead.
If it's not offered for the truth of the matter, then it's not relevant. Now he's going to testify about what somebody else said. That is hearsay. It doesn't matter if it's not for the truth of the matter, because then it's irrelevant. But we are in Georgia, where this judge is farting and pissing on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
came up and passed me and said, "Hey, are you Al?" And I didn't pay any attention to him because I don't know any little young kids, and I don't know anybody that lives hardly in Atlanta, so I didn't pay attention to him. He said it again, and I just kept walking. And after a way, he went away, and I turned to look to see who it was, or just to see who it was. And there was nobody that I could identify or anybody that I knew. So
Was the person male or female?
male,
And you said the person looked young.
yes,
When you say young, what age range?
20ish, 30, 20. No, I don't know, no more than 30.
That's a huge range.
Once you ignored this individual because you didn't know anyone, did anything else occur?
I saw them, one or both of them walking around the back of the bus, and I don't know what they were doing. I was focused on other things, so I don't know what they were doing.
And you said one of them or both of them? Is this the same person who called your name Al or some other?
Yes, yes,
So you saw the person who called Al and someone else walking around your bus?
yes.
We know the person said Al was a male. The other person walking around the bus wasn't a male or female.
It's a male.
Could you tell the race of the male?
Yes,
What was that?
both are black males.
Yeah, this is not consistent. I mean, he saw one, and now all of a sudden there's two of them.
When you saw them walking around your bus, did you say anything to them?
No.
How long, let me ask you this, from the time the person called you Al to watching them walk around your bus, about how much time passed between him singing, asking for Al and the individual walking around the bus?
It was about 10 minutes.
Outside of those two males, did you see anyone else?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. It was too much.
What alerted you to the individuals walking around your bus? If there's so many people out there, what alerted you to the individuals walking
I
around?
always keep my eyes on what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's why we don't like going to the venues, because there's just so much going on. But yeah.
And generally, the person calling you
Yeah. This is a switch up from the prosecution. I'm not really sure why. Because somebody asked if it was Al. And then she asked something about for Al. And thank you, Gigi, for gifting a membership. And it then who received it was No Curse Ann. Now you have been a member before, so you now have access again to my members only content and my Discord. And for anybody else who are thinking about supporting my channel, yeah, you can support my channel by becoming a member. It's $3 a month, and you get access to all my members only content, where I talk about more about me, the farm, what I do for a living. For you who don't know, hi, I'm a union rep. I do labor law. I've been doing it for over 30 years. And because all these memberships and the occasional super chat is what is keeping this channel afloat. I do have costs for this. It's a $350 to $400 a month just by having this to bring you free content. So if you wouldn't mind, and if you have something to spare, I would really appreciate you becoming a member, or look up my PayPal or something like that. Thank you so much. And that is the end of... But thank you, Gigi, for your gifted membership. Thank you. And hit the thumbs up and subscribe and all of that thing. Oh, here comes Nana Misty, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. It went to Samantha Yo, Benjamin Gray, Reformed Convict, Louis Thomas, and Heather Mosher. For you who are new among you, and you now also have access to all my members-only content. And Gigi says, Nick, didn't you also do documents for the EU or something? Yeah, for 3 years, I was a documents analyst in the European Union, which more or less is me reading thousands of documents to thin out the amount of documents and stuff like that a certain group of members of parliament had to read through in order to vote on it. So that is what I did for 3 years. Shanagram, I don't understand. What does this have to do with the shooting we're here for? Well, I assume it's just for getting some things into the record in order to, young people were walking around the bus and the YSL were young people. Something like that. I don't know. Thank you again, Anna Misty. And Gigi and Noker-san and everybody else who's here.
Al, do most people call you Al?
People in the business do, but people that know me from way back don't call me Al. They call me by my name, but so that's why I really didn't pay attention to it. If they called me by my real name, I would have paid attention. But yeah.
After you see both the two individuals walk around the bus, what, if anything, happens next?
They went away, and I got on the bus and just sat there and waited.
And were you waiting for Lil Wayne to exit the venue?
Yes.
Did he eventually exit the venue?
Yes, they did.
From the time that the individuals are walking around your bus to the time he comes out the venue, about how much time has passed?
It was like within a half hour, if I recall.
Tell the jurors about Lil Wayne coming out of the venue.
Well, the door came open and they all came rushing out. There was a lot of commotion going on, and a lot of people that weren't normally on the bus got on the bus. There was just a lot of commotion going on, which I didn't understand and know what was going on. So I just sat there and waited.
About how many more people entered the bus about how many more people entered the bus that weren't there initially?
Probably about six extra ones.
This is good catch, Noker-san. Want to look up the lyrics for Call Me Al to see if it was a fun music reference that the tour bus driver didn't catch? Yeah. In the context of this trial, anything's possible. And for me, this is very interesting now. He claims, after questions, that there were a lot of people who just jumped on his tour bus. And here's a theory. Too many people jumped on. Then probably Lil Wayne and his security threw some of them off. Maybe one of them found it very, very nasty to be thrown out of Lil Wayne's tour bus, so he got a gun. We don't know.
Now, once they got on the bus, what if anything happens next?
Once Wayne got on, I sat there for a while.
Wow.
And because I didn't know which direction we were headed, so I was waiting to hear what they were going to tell me what we were going to do.
And when you say you were waiting for what to do, who were you waiting for? Who were you waiting for instructions from?
Well, Wayne's, I think it was his manager. His name was Mac Millen or something. I don't know, remember his name. He came up and was yelling at me, telling me some nigga shit was going on. Excuse my language.
I'm not offering for the truth of that.
I'm sorry.
That was Max Sharp. All of the objections.
You're right, I'm still not offering for the truth of the matters.
Oh, sir.
Go ahead.
If it's not truth of the matter, it's not relevant.
His manager said there was some, excuse my language, some nigga shit going on, and I need to pay the attention to what's going on, or somebody's going to seriously get hurt.
First of all, YouTube's, this is a trial. It's not me saying the words, okay? But this was interesting.
Go ahead.
His manager said there was some, excuse my language, some nigga shit going on, and I need to pay the attention to what's going on, or somebody's going to seriously get hurt. And I didn't understand what was going on.
So at that point, hearing that, what did you do?
I sat there, and waited, and he said there was going to be a police escort. Just follow the police escort, and we'll leave.
Okay. And did there eventually police escort to escort you away from the club?
Yes.
What was the police escort? Was it cars, motorcycles, a van? What was the escort?
It was a car and a motorcycle, if I recall.
How many escorts did you have?
I had quite a few dealing with different artists. That was this night was a little different because just a car and a motorcycle I didn't understand that, but you know, I don't make those calls.
And I'm sorry, and that was a bad question on my part. In the past, you've had police escorts.
Yes,
Specifically on this night, how many, was it only the two?
yes,
And I guess given your prior experience, was that unusual for you?
yes.
Did you know where the police escort was supposed to take you?
They said they were gonna take me to the interstate and get me on the interstate so I can get out of town.
And were you scheduled to go out of town or were you scheduled to go somewhere else?
Not after driving 10 hours from Miami and no.
Where were you scheduled? Where were you going to be driving the bus after leaving the compound?
So we were going to the hotel.
Is that the same Mandarin hotel that you were
Yes.
supposed to initially?
Yes.
When did you end up following the police escort?
They took me to the interstate, put me on the interstate, and the car pulled off to the side of the road. I got on the interstate, started heading towards the hotel.
And was the other bus with Travis, was he following you? Or was he in front of you?
Travis was behind me.
And the police escort, was there one escort in front of your bus and one escort behind Travis's bus?
If I remember correctly, yes.
And do you recall what highway they were driving you to in order for you to get back to the hotel?
If I recall, it was the 285.
Do you recall from the compound to 285, the route that you took?
I just remember it being a long road. I don't know the name of it, but it took us straight to the interstate.
And that was 285.
Yes.
Once you got on 285, do you know where you were supposed to travel or how you were supposed to travel in order to get back to Buckhead to go to the hotel?
I put it in my GPS and that was showing me which way to get back to the hotel or get to the hotel.
While the escort were getting you to 285, did you notice anything suspicious around you at any time on that long road that was leading you to 285?
No, not really. I didn't see anything, really, no. It was nobody out there was on that road. It was kind of weird, but I didn't see any cars or anything. We were just driving through and they told us to run the lights if we need to, just keep rolling.
Now, I think you said once you got to 285, the escorts pulled over.
Yes,
Once the escorts pulled over, did you get on 285?
yes, I did.
Tell the jurors what happened once you got on 285.
Once I got on 285, within minutes, that's when that's when that car came along and started shooting at the bus.
Now, as you're driving, are you able to discern where the shots are coming from? Does it come from the front of the bus, the back of the bus, or somewhere else?
They started at the back of the bus. They shot my engine, shot my radiator, and just started shooting all down the side of the bus.
And at the time, you said did you have those passengers, were those passengers that came out of the club, were they still on your bus as this bus is being shot up?
Yeah, they were back there screaming on the floor.
You said they were what?
Back there screaming.
Now, is this a traumatic event? Yes. Does this witness have a $30 million lawsuit pending on this? Yes. Is this self-serving? Yes. In my opinion. Now, does he might have huge PTSD from it. I don't know. But if they bring up in this that he has a $30 million lawsuit pending, I mean, for $30 million, most can retire easily on $30 million. Reform Committee asks, did someone plead guilty to this shooting? Yes. This entire case was solved that year. In 2015, a person pled guilty, got his punishment, moved on. In 2016, Cobb County did investigate if young Thug and others were involved. No charges whatsoever. And the lawsuit now in 7 years haven't been resolved. No. Don't know why.
Screaming on the floor.
And we talked about kind of how the setup of the bus was. You had the king room in the back, you had the living room area kind of towards the middle of the bus. Were people spread out throughout the entire bus in the back in the bedroom as well as in the middle portion?
Yes, they were.
And I see that you're crying. Why are you crying?
Objection.
I'll move the objection.
Objection to the propagation of attack.
I sustain the objection. Let's move on to this item.
Because it was,
Okay, can answer the question, okay? All right.
Once you heard the shot, do you know how many shots you
heard quite a few hitting the bus. I can't count how many. I saw some flash bangs or so I can count for those.
So you saw some flash?
Yeah, from the gun flash, yeah.
You said, I can count, how many of those did you see?
There was about 3 that I counted, and it just seemed like it just kept coming.
At the time as you're driving, do you know exactly what is hit?
At the time driving, no.
At the time as you're driving, you hear the gunshots hitting your car. Do you know that Travis's bus has been shot?
I didn't know that. I got on the radio, CB radio, and asked him if he was okay, and he said he was.
I sustain the objection.
Okay. Did you speak with him over the tour radio?
Yes, he said he was okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Don't tell me what anyone else says. Now, once you communicate with him on the radio, do you call anyone else?
I called 911.
Let me ask you this. You said that the passengers on the bus were screaming. As the bus driver, did you start?
Where is that 911 call? Because they asked the previous witness what 911 calls were there. And the person in that 911 call wasn't this witness. So where's his 911 call?
Screaming as well?
No, I couldn't do that
Why not?
because I had to maintain control and professional safety for.
And did you try to remain calm although the bus was being shot at?
Yes, I did.
Now, were you able to see any vehicles or individuals who were shooting at the bus?
I saw the first vehicle that passed by, which to me it looked like I said it was a sports car. Thought it was a Corvette. It was just
Okay. What color was that car that you saw pass by?
white in color.
Did you see any other vehicles with that white vehicle?
If I recall, there was a white truck that was following that vehicle.
And when you saw these vehicles, the white, what you thought was a Corvette and the white truck, were they on the driver's side of the bus or the passenger side of the bus?
They were on the driver's side.
When you first see the white vehicle, where was the bus? Where was that vehicle? Was it directly on the side of you, in front of you, or somewhere else?
If I recall, it was like towards the back of the bus. Saw it coming up from behind, towards the back of the bus.
So and how did you see it? Did you see it through your rear view mirror?
Yes, through my rear view mirror.
And let me be clear, I'm saying the rear view mirror. Are you talking about your driver's side mirror on the side or your actual?
The actual,
rear view mirror?
the actual driver's right on the outside mirror.
As you see the white car come up the side of your bus, can you tell if it was going slow, going fast, or something else?
They were going fast. I was doing probably 75. I don't know, I was 75. I don't know, recall. So they had to then come up. They passed me quickly, so they had been doing they were getting it in too.
As the white car is zooming past you, are you able to see them shooting or see someone in that car shooting into the bus?
I just saw the flash, the gun flash. I didn't see it.
Does the white car eventually pass the bus?
Yes, it did.
What if anything happened once the white car passed the bus?
Once it passed, kept on going, and it pulled over to the side of the road. And that's when I slowed down and I saw them up ahead of me. There was nobody on the highway at the time, really, that I can recall, except Travis that was behind me. And they pulled over to the side of the road up ahead of us.
Once they pulled up to the side of the road, once they pulled to the side of the road ahead of you, what happened?
I asked the security where were we headed to. He said go straight to the hotel. And I told him we can't go too far because the bus, I couldn't see out of my mirror and stuff. So we started heading on the highway to the hotel, and that's when that vehicle, from what I observed, we got off just before we got to the vehicle. That was on the side of the road. That was our exit. We got off, and that's where the police met us.
Where did the police meet you?
As we got off the highway, and the hotel was not too far off the highway, if I recall.
All right. Some side news, so to speak. For you who don't know, Daryl Brooks, remember him? The Sovsit who drove through a parade, killing a bunch of people. He was on trial this week for trying to run over his former girlfriend. During jury selection, he took a plea deal, so no trial. Was he going pro se? No, he actually used a lawyer this time, and he got a plea deal. And I see over at Rumble that I have a spammer. I hope you grow warts on your peen, you absolute fucktwat. Sorry, YouTubes. I was not saying the word you thought I was saying. The word I was saying was forquad. It's the accent, YouTubes. It's the accent. It kind of makes my words sound different. I mean forquad. Let's get back to our trial here.
Once the white car drove past you and before it went to the side of the road, did you see any more shooting from that vehicle?
No, they did all the shooting when they passed me.
Now, you just said that you saw that the rear view mirror was shot out. At what point in time did you notice that the mirror was shot out?
Whenever the police met us there at the hotel, and I went to back down next to the hotel, that's when I couldn't back down. Well, somebody had to help me because I noticed that the mirror had been shot out.
Now, earlier you said you called 911. At what point did you call 911?
After I made sure that everybody was okay, and I checked myself to make sure I was okay, and checked with Travis to make sure they were okay, and that's when we went on to the hotel. Well, that's when I called 911.
So were you still on the highway when you called 911?
Yes, I was.
Sorry, I did a click it.
As you all were, as the car was being shot at, did anyone from the inside of your bus try to shoot at the individuals who were shooting at you all?
No.
And have you had an opportunity to listen to your 911 call that you made back in April 25th to 26th of 2015?
Yes, I did.
And in listening to that call, does that appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the phone calls that you made back on the morning of April 26, 2015?
Most definitely, yes.
Did it sound like appear to be any additions or deletions outside of your phone number?
No.
You have permission to approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Over an hour in, and the few things that is useful here is
You may.
representation of the event and the 911 call. That is 15 minutes
Yes, I did.
And how do you
of
recognize one
testimony.
Echo Alpha?
I listened to it and I initialed it.
And is that the 911 call that we just referenced?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, this time state we'd like to tender Exhibit 1 Echo Alpha into evidence.
Any objection to states 1 Echo Alpha? Basis. All right, Mr. Sharp, overruled. Mr. Adams?
Yes, objection as to cumulative witnesses testimony.
Overruled, sir. All right, may be published.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In this case, I must say,
911, what's the location of the emergency?
in this case, this is proffer of that 911 call. And, but they do have to put it on the record for appellate issues. So I understand why they object, but I actually have to agree with the judge's decision here. He does sometimes make correct rulings. Sadly, he only does it towards the prosecution. So about 5 in 100 decisions in favor for the prosecution is actually correct. The rest is horse shit.
Yeah, we're at exit 19. We had shots fired at a tour bus that we were driving.
Okay, what interstate are you on?
We're on the 285.
285 at exit what? What's the name of the exit?
19.
What is the name of the exit?
I don't know. It's 19.
Is it Cobb Parkway?
No, and we're right at the 75 in the Cobb Parkway.
Okay. Are you northbound, southbound?
We are. I'm not sure, ma'am. I'm not from here, so.
Okay. Is there any way that you can see any street signs to know which direction of travel you're going, which way you're headed towards?
Okay. We're white was the vet.
What color was the what color make of the vehicle?
That's a white Corvette.
And do you have a tag?
No. They on 285. They had it for like 275 just now. White Corvette though.
Okay. What is your name? What is your name, sir?
Al Lewis.
What's the callback number for you?
You want the other one?
Sorry, what is your callback number? Okay, can you describe what exit you're coming up on now? It would give me a better direction of travel where you're going.
We are, no, I don't. I'm not.
Did you see who was in the vehicle?
Yes, it was, well, I think it was the white car. It was coming up next to me.
Okay, I have a white Corvette. Did you see who was driving it? Who was in the vehicle?
No, I don't. No, I don't, ma'am. We're at North Side.
Okay, so you passed Cobb Parkway and you're coming up on North Side?
Yes.
Okay, you're going into Fulton County. Okay, so you're coming up on North Side, correct?
I'm sorry?
You're coming up on North Side?
I'm sorry, man. What were you saying?
Are you coming up on North Side exit?
Yes, we're at
Okay.
22 North Side.
Okay, do you have a tag on the vehicle at all?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay. All right, well,
Right.
if you see where they go or anything, just give us a call back. But I'm going to call Atlanta with the lookout because you're now in Atlanta.
Okay,
Okay, if you get any other information, just give us a call back, okay?
thanks.
Bye.
Now, Mr. Lewis, and listening to that call, how would you describe your demeanor on that call?
Objection, speak for itself.
I'll rule the objection. I'll stand the objection to that, though.
Why did you have a calm demeanor on that call?
I had to.
You said you had to. Is that based upon what you talked about earlier?
Just to make sure somebody had been, in control of the situation, or it could have really been a heck of a lot worse.
At the time in which you were on the phone with 911, did you realize how much damage had been done to the vehicle?
No, I didn't.
At that time in which you were calling 911, was your primary thought the safety of those individuals?
I stand the objection.
What was your primary thought?
The safety of my passengers.
Did you eventually make it to the hotel?
Yes, we did.
Between 285 and the hotel, did you make any other stops?
No, we went directly to the Mandarin Hotel.
At this juncture, do you remember what highway did you get on to go to the Mandarin Hotel from where you were on 285?
I believe it's 400, if I recall.
Once you got to the hotel, what happened?
We parked, and that's when the officers met us. That's when I looked at the bus and saw how it was shot up, and saw how close the last bullet came to taking my life.
And where was that particular bullet that you're referencing? Where was it? Did you see a bullet hole? Or did you see a bullet?
You saw the bullet hole and shot the back of my mirror, the rearview mirror that I look out of, that I sit right there in the window at.
I can't hear you.
It shot. The last one shot at the back of my mirror, where I sit in the driver's seat.
Now, when you got to the hotel, did you need assistance parking your vehicle?
Yes,
And why is that?
because the rearview mirror that I look out of was shot out, had a big bullet dent in it.
And I believe you said the police were there once you got to the hotel.
Yes, they were.
Once you got to the hotel, did the occupants who were on the bus get off the bus?
The police came on the bus, started questioning the occupants. Nobody wanted to talk to the police.
I stand the objection.
Okay.
Nobody.
Hold on. You can rephrase.
When the police got on the bus, did they attempt to speak with anyone?
Yes.
Did anyone speak with them?
No.
That's not.
I'll rule the objection as long as you don't tell what the other people said.
Did anyone speak with the police?
No, they didn't.
Did those individuals get off the bus?
Yes, they did.
Did you see where they went?
No.
And was Lil Wayne one of those individuals who got off that bus?
Yes, he was.
And did you ever see him speaking with the police?
No, I didn't.
And did you stay and speak with the police?
Yes, I did.
Now, we talked about you looking at your driver's side mirror. Were you able to look at both your bus and Travis's bus when you got off your bus?
Yes, I was.
And did you notice anything on the bus that was not there when you first left Miami?
On the outside or the inside?
First, let's talk about the outside of your bus. Did you notice things that were not there when your bus departed Miami?
Yes, noticed a bunch of gunshots on the side of my bus.
Okay. And what about Travis's bus?
Yes.
What about on the inside of your bus? Did you notice anything that was not there prior to leaving Miami?
Yes, I did.
What was that?
Where the gunshots had penetrated through the bus and they were in the bus.
And have you had the opportunity to look at the pictures of your bus and Travis's bus from the night of, or the morning of April 26, 2015?
Yes, I have.
And now it's time for the bullet holes in the bus. So it's relevant. The first hour of his testimony had no relevance whatsoever.
Was about to be 38.
But now they're going into.
108.
But here's the thing, it's solved. Peewee Roscoe took a plea deal in 2018 and then a new one in 2020. The case is solved.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in recess for 15 minutes. All right, all rise.
Luckily, we can just skip ahead because we are a bit behind.
So you said take 15 minutes. Okay. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram.
And we're back. We're only
All right, Ms.
24
Oldham,
minutes
you and your
behind. We are
colleagues from the
basically
defense had an
live.
opportunity to take a look at the exhibits that you're about to show the witness.
Yes, Your Honor, the defense counsel has had an opportunity to look at State's Exhibit 38 Echo through 108 Echo, Your Honor, today in court, and also provided in the PowerPoint lesson. Mr. Lewis, you can take a moment and look at first State's Exhibit 38 Echo through 62 Echo, excuse me, and then 63 Echo through 108 Echo. So total 38 Echo through 108 Echo. Look at those and tell me if you recognize Mr. Sutton.
There will be no topless things in my no. I mean, I have, but no, no topless things on my birthday stream. I like to keep my channel, but if you get me drunk enough, because on Friday, the Wheel of Regrets will be around for you to, so you can support my channel and watch me do stupid things. But I won't have stripping on that Wheel of Regrets. But what I do have is, if I ever get to a $10,000 stream, the next stream will be in a pink bikini.
Not this set.
Was contained in those exhibits.
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize what's contained in State's Exhibit 38 Echo through 108 Echo?
That's my bus.
And is that both the bus that you were driving as well as the bus that Travis was driving on the night or the day of April 25th into the morning of April 26, 2015?
Yes, it was both. It was myself and Travis's bus as well.
And do those pictures fairly and accurately depict the images of the bus as you saw them back on the morning of April 26, 2015?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, this time state would like to turn State Exhibit 38 Echo to 108 Echo into evidence.
Any objections to states 38 Echo through 108 Echo? All right, hearing none, they are admitted and may be published as you see fit.
First, we're going to start with State's Exhibit 38 Echo. And looking at 39 and 40 Echo. Whose bus is contained within 38 Echo, 39 and 40 Echo?
40 Echo is Travis's bus.
And is that the studio bus?
Yes, it is.
And I know we've been using that term studio. What does a studio bus mean?
Instead of having a big bed in the back, a king size bed, there is a studio actually built back there.
And we say studio, you mean like a music studio?
Yes,
And is that what you were referencing, that Lil Wayne would get off from your bus and go into that bus to the music studio?
yes,
And is it fair to say that he would primarily sleep on your bus if he was to sleep or relax on your
yes.
bus? Now, looking at 41 Echo and 42 Echo, do you see any defects on the bus that were not present when you all left Miami, Florida?
And I see one on 42 Echo.
Okay, and if it's easier, and I'll let you choose, you can either circle it using the computer screen.
Right.
Okay. Now let's go to 43 Echo. Do you see what do you see in 43 Echo?
Boy, Jesus. Right here, right here.
And in 43 Echo, were those, strike that. Why did you circle those two areas of 43 Echo, which for the record are two defects in that picture?
Those appear to be gunshots to me.
Okay. And were those two defects there in the bus when you all left Miami?
No.
And did you notice it once you got back to the Mandarin Hotel?
Yes, we did. I did.
All right. And looking at now 44 Echo, is that a close-up of that top bullet hole that we saw in 43 Echo?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'd like for us to go to 45 Echo. And looking at, are you able to clear the screen?
Somewhat.
Okay. Scattered bullet holes. Looking at that doesn't seem like a big caliber weapon.
Now I want to go back to 41 Echo. Excuse me, I'm sorry, 43 Echo. Now
There
looking at
are
43
a bunch of
Echo
holes
and
in that bus.
45 Echo. Is this a different gunshot than what we see in 43 Echo?
You show me 43, please.
Go back to 43.
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to move to 47 Echo. Looking at 47 Echo, what do you see in 47 Echo?
Sure.
Okay. And does that appear to be a different defect than what we saw in both 43 and 45
It
Echo?
appears to be, yes.
And again, was this on the bus prior to you leaving Miami?
No.
And when did you first notice this defect?
At the hotel, at the Mondrian.
Speak up a little.
At the hotel, the Mondrian Hotel.
I want us to now go to 49 Echo.
Okay.
And if you're able to remove the circle. Looking at 49 Echo in comparison to 47. Again, was that defect there prior to you leaving Miami?
Nope.
And did you see it after you returned back to the Mandarin Hotel?
Yes.
The 53 Echo. And if we need to, we can go back and count.
Quite a few. I didn't actually count them, but there's quite a few of them.
Let's go back to 41. So, sorry, my eyes is bad. 43.
If they are counting them, if the exhibit is
How many are
41 to 53, that's 12.
And then looking at 45.
One.
So that 3 right now?
That's then a Big Mag.
Basis?
Leading in foundation.
Um,
And N.Starow.
I'll overrule the objection and, I'll sustain it as the leading, so.
How many is that right there?
One, I'm sorry,
So
total of 3.
going to 47? How many,
He had a few,
how many people were on the studio bus at the time outside of Travis?
no, I don't. I'm not sure.
Do you know Travis was on there by himself?
No, he had a few people on board. I don't know the head count.
Okay. Looking at State Exhibit 57 Echo, I'm gonna also look at 58, 59, 60, 61, and 62. What part of the bus is that area that we're looking at between 57 and 62 Echo?
It's the Bay Area where they stored luggage.
So they
And looking
fired
back on State's Exhibit,
low.
actually for real, it's not 41. If you could just show the jury, what would be considered the Bay Area of the bus?
It seems like they fired
Area
low
runs
in order to not
These
fire
3 doors
at
are right.
people.
Well, actually, on this one, there'll be 2 doors. This bay here, or bay.
That's, oh. And looking at 63 Echo, what's depicted in 63 Echo?
That's my bus.
And now looking at 77 Echo,
Okay, so 12 in.
what are we looking at 77 Echo?
The passenger side of my bus.
And this is a little bit backwards, but in 76 Echo? Is that the same passenger side of your bus from a different angle?
Yes, it is.
How is that the passenger side? That would mean that the bus, if I'm not misremembering, you have right-hand side driving in the United States. So why are the bullet holes on that side of the bus? Because that should be, on the right-hand side, unless they were driving in the middle of the road and somebody peeked in. Huh? This is strange.
Now I want to show you what's been marked as 66 Echo and 67 Echo. Looking at 66 and then next to that 67.
Yeah, no.
What is depicted in 67?
That's a bullet.
Yeah, I know, folks. Driver sits on the left, I know, and on the right side is the passenger side. But if you're driving down the road, unless you're driving in a middle, if there's a 3-lane drive, and unless you're driving in the middle one, there's no room on the. Yeah, it's still weird, and I don't like weird, because there's no statement that he was driving in the middle of the road. They drove up beside it on the interstate, but it should be on his side, shouldn't it be?
Right there.
Yeah, that looks like a slug. That's not small at all. Huh.
It's a bullet that hit right there.
And again, were those defects inside of your vehicle prior to leaving Miami?
No.
Okay. And earlier, when you testified that you heard gunshots coming from the back of the bus first?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to 68 Echo
Okay, now they are showing the
and
left
69
hand side.
Echo
Okay.
and 70 Echo. What's depicted in 68, 69, and 70?
That's a huge dent. That's not a small caliber. This is so strange. Unless they had shotguns.
The Echo.
This right here is where the radiator is, and that was shot.
Now, did you at any point in time find anything in the radiator when you were looking at the bus?
Yes, I did. After getting to the hotel, and I was just looking around. I looked to see how far the radiator was damaged, and I saw a bullet lodged in there.
And what, if anything, did you do with the bullet that was lodged in the radiator?
I called and either Racy or Dennis came in, I believe. I met Dennis, Detective Dennis, and gave it to him.
And do you know what agency Detective Dennis worked for?
No, I don't.
Now, with this damage to the radiator, again, was that there prior to leaving Miami?
No.
With this damage, were you able to drive the bus after you got it back to the hotel?
Luckily, I got it back to the hotel without blowing the engine. Yes.
After you got,
I'm looking at Interstate 2 and 85, and that's a 4-laner. Now, at least, I don't know what it was at the time in 2015, but it is multi-lane. So that wouldn't be impossible for a bus to, because if there's nobody else on the road, you really don't need to be in the far right lane when they started driving up. It seems to be more than one shooter because there are multi-caliber guns. Just looking at the bullet holes.
back to the hotel, did you drive that bus again?
Never. No.
Why not?
First, I couldn't drive it because of the damage that was done to it, and mentally and physically, I couldn't drive it. And the Pioneer called and had it towed back to the yard.
Okay. And with this portion, was the radiator damaged?
Yes, very, very much so.
All right. Moving to State's Exhibit 77, Echo. 71 Echo, just keep going. What is depicted in 71 Echo, 75 Echo, 73 Echo, and 74 Echo? '71, '72, '73, '74.
Okay, a bit of information. The lawsuit against Birdman, YSL Records, and Young Thug that he has for 30 million. It is filed with a stay, it's called. And I'm not sure the exact meaning of it, but it seems like it's just filed and then nothing happens until they take the next step or something of that.
It's right here is the bullet that shattered my driver's window. That's where the bullet hit that shattered my my rearview mirror.
And I'm going to go to 74 Echo. Is this the mirror that was shattered?
Yes, it is.
And where would you be sitting
That would make
in relation to where that mirror
people
is? In that
crap their pants.
I'd be sitting right here.
Hello, Ghost Tree.
And is that a glass window on the side, on the left side of where you circled?
Yes,
That's the window?
Yes, it is.
And do you know where that bullet went at all? That went in 70. Now looking at State's Exhibit.
Remember in the beginning of this testimony, they were showing what was supposed to be the inside of a tour bus. This is not the same tour bus. Now it's taken from another angle, but I can see because it was taken from the back end into the front end, but didn't look like that. So every photo they showed in the beginning, no relevance whatsoever. It was just a waste of time. And why? Because I believe that the prosecution now actively is prolonging everything in order for the judge to take the decision once it's the defense case in chief to start limiting their time and witnesses, making it even more unfair towards the defendants.
88 Echo. And then the next is 75 Echo. Looking at 88 Echo, are you able to tell the jury where on the bus is 88 Echo?
This is the side of the bus that's right behind where I sit.
So is that the driver's side of the bus?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. And is that a window on the driver's side of the bus?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes.
And looking at 75 Echo, what do we see in 75 Echo?
Both these are bullet holes right here, there, and there.
And again, were those holes there prior to you leaving Miami?
No, they weren't.
And were they there once you got back to the Mandarin?
Yes, they were.
All right. Looking at 82 Echo. And looking at 83 Echo. What are we looking at 82 and 83 Echo?
More bullet holes.
Is that in the inside of the same glass we were just looking at?
Yes.
And now looking at 80 Echo and 81 Echo. First, do you know or do you remember, were the shades down as it is here when you were leaving the compound? Do you know?
That I don't recall. I don't recall that.
Looking at 81 Echo, what do we see at 81 Echo?
Something bullet pierced through the shades right there.
Okay. And again, was that there prior to you leaving Miami?
No, it was not.
Now looking at 55 Echo. Sorry, this slide 55, 84 Echo, I apologize. Look at 84 Echo
No,
and
they're
looking at
actively
85 Echo.
shooting inside the bus. So yeah.
Bullet hole right there.
Okay. And again, was that there prior to you leaving?
No.
And now looking at 86 Echo.
Big old bullet hole right there.
Are you able to tell that's the inside of the door that we were just looking at?
Yes, it is.
All right. And looking at 87 Echo.
Yes.
And 89 Echo. And 90 Echo. Do you know what that is that we're looking at in those three images?
Looks like a shell casing. I mean, a bullet.
Okay. And I want to look at 92 Echo. Going back to 91. What area are we looking at in 91 Echo?
That's the kitchen. This is a refrigerator.
Cabinet. Were there any other
Looking
projectiles
past
found on the side of the
more
bus?
photos. because
Once we got back to
repetitive.
Madison, the shop supervisor said that he found
I sustain objection.
Well, don't
Hold on. Any objection?
Do you know if a projectile was given, once you got back, given to any detectives?
That would be over here, set up.
I sustain objection.
Now, on April 26th, did you speak with police?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you tell them what you basically told the jurors here today?
Yes, I did.
Outside of calling 911 that night, did you make any other calls that evening?
I talked to a coworker, and then I talked to my daughter.
Now, we talked about earlier, you did not drive the bus back to Tennessee. How did the bus get back to Tennessee?
They had towed it back to Tennessee.
Now, was Atlanta the last stop for that tour?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. Did you go on any other tour stops after April 26th for that particular tour?
No.
I'll rule the objection. I'll rule, sir.
Why didn't you go into the other portion of that tour?
I was done that night. That was it for me.
In all of your years of driving as a tour bus operator, had anything like this ever happened?
Objection, that's irrelevant.
I sustain that objection.
Prior to going on tour, were you aware of any conflicts between Lil Wayne and anyone else prior to you getting on this tour?
No.
Objection, relevance, and call for hearsay.
I sustain the objection.
Just a few follow-up questions. When the police escort were escorting you to 285, were the sirens on or off? If you can recall.
That I don't recall.
Do you remember if the lights were on or off?
Yes, they definitely were.
Lights were definitely on? Okay. earlier when you talked about the individual who said your name or asked for Al, what was that person's demeanor? Do you recall?
I didn't pay too much attention to it. They were kind of aggressively asking and I just ignored it.
What about, did you notice anything about the demeanor about the person who was the other person was walking around the bus?
No, they seemed like they were just up to doing something.
I stand the objection.
When you said that Lil Wayne individuals rushed out of the compound onto your bus, did any of them appear to be angry?
Yeah, the manager was quite angry about something and pretty much cussing me out. I mean, we've been out on tour before and never had any situation like that.
Outside the manager, any of the individuals who got on the bus?
No.
What the prosecution is going for here is the claim that something happened on the compound which made people run into the bus. This is completely unsubstantiated with any testimony so far from cops, from anyone. And since the prosecution refuses to call anyone Lil Wayne, his former manager or current manager, they are calling not one but this bus driver who has a $30 million civil suit pending. And yeah, you can reference that to how you want to.
As you all were being escorted to 285 with the police escort, did anyone on the bus appear upset or angry prior to the shooting occurring?
I didn't pay attention. I was focused on the escort.
Okay. When the white car drove past you on 285 and it pulled over on the side, if you can remember, how far was your bus, from where that car pulled over on the side? About how many car lengths between where your bus was and when they pulled over to the side?
I recall it wasn't a car length. It was about a half a mile or so. They kept on and went on up, and I saw where they were going, and I saw them pull over.
Course indulgence for a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
This is her procrastinating so they get to lunch before the cross-examination. So the jurors will think about this the entire lunch. Come on. Oh! We are getting to cross-examination before lunch. Nice! Nice cross-examination, Mr. Shard. So she couldn't procrastinate this any longer.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell. Okay?
Okay.
Just going to ask you a few questions. The bus that you were driving, Lil Wayne's security was on that bus, correct?
Yes.
And that man's name is James Mulvey, correct?
I know him as Jim. That's what I know him as.
You know him as Jim?
Yes.
Okay. On direct, you testified that you were the only person who spoke to police that night. Jim, in fact, spoke to police that night as well, correct?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can't say yes or no.
Okay. Now, we heard your 911 tape, the 911 call, and you also gave a statement to the police that night at the hotel, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you were willing to cooperate with the police, correct?
Yes.
In fact, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, you wanted to prosecute this case, correct?
No.
Well, the police asked you if you're willing to prosecute, and you in fact answered that you were wanting to prosecute the case that night.
Okay.
Okay. So certainly, you wanted to, when you gave your statement to the police, you didn't hold back any information, did you?
Well, when you have a CDL, which is federally.
Oh, this might be juicy because if he gave statements in accordance to him wanting to prosecute the case, then what he said back then has way more impact than what he's saying now. And the only reason, in my opinion, Mr. Shard brings it up is, well, it has to be impeachment.
Governed, I just can't choose not to speak.
I understand.
So I did what I'm supposed to do.
I understand. And you wanted to give the police as many details as possible about what you had seen.
Well, I had a job that I had to maintain. And if I didn't cooperate, I'm sure my company, Pioneer, would have probably told me, because they had insurance, I'm sure, if I didn't cooperate and say,
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay, well, I don't want to get too far off field.
Okay.
All I'm asking is, when you gave your statement to the police, you wanted to give them accurate details about what you had observed.
that's my job, yes.
Okay, and you weren't seeking to leave anything out, correct?
No.
Okay. And so I want to talk to you about what you've testified here today.
Regarding the objection, that is from other defense lawyers, because they might not want him to speculate, even because every defendant have their own lawyer, and the lawyers are only defending that defendant. So they might not want him to speculate, even if Mr. Shard wants him to.
As I understand it, you're driving the bus, you hear what you perceive as gunshots, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you are on the front, in the driver's seat of the bus, front left of the bus, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And after hearing gunshots, you saw two cars speed past the bus on the left.
Correct.
Okay. And eventually these cars ended up pulling over on the right side of the road past the exit that you were getting off.
Correct.
Okay. And when I say you wanted to give all the details, you could. When I say two cars, there were only two cars that sped past you on the left, correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And one of those cars you've testified was a white sports car, correct?
I testified it was a Corvette.
Okay. Oh, we were going to get to that. White Corvette. And you actually said that you saw flashes coming out of that car, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the second car behind the white Corvette, I want to talk to you about that car. That was a white truck, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's what you've always said, a white truck, correct?
That's what I remember at 85 miles an hour, yes.
Okay. And those were, to the best of your recollection, the only two cars that you saw pass the bus, correct?
Correct.
Okay. In all of your statements, you have never, or you did not see, let me just start with this. You did not see a blue SUV that night, did you?
I don't recall that.
Okay. You do not recall seeing a blue SUV.
I don't recall that.
And you certainly did not see a blue SUV passing the bus at the time of the gunshots, correct?
I don't recall that.
Okay.
I would assume this goes to what another cop said about the car that he saw, who was a security at that event, saw a person he identified as, I don't remember, in a car, blue SUV, which he saw some kind of assault rifle. But this actual witness to the event, none of the cars were blue. And in that car was Peewee. That's interesting. Because that means that the state can't actually connect Peewee to this event, even though he took a plea deal. They actually can't connect it if this is all they have.
Thank you, court's indulgence.
Yes, sir.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Adams?
Thank you, Judge.
Sir.
Mr. Lewis, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
My name is Keith Adams, and I represent Jeffrey Williams. You don't know Jeffrey Williams, do you?
No.
He is, however, someone who is named in your lawsuit that you have filed. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you are, as you sit here, you are a witness in this criminal case, true?
Yes.
You've been subpoenaed as a witness to come in and
Yes,
testify.
I've been subpoenaed, yes.
Right. And you are also the plaintiff in a lawsuit that you have brought against Jeffrey Williams, right?
Yes.
Let's see, Brian Birdman Williams, correct?
Correct.
Cash Money Records, right?
Correct.
Young Money Records, right?
Correct.
Let's see, Jimmy Carlton Winfrey, correct?
Correct.
And YSL, the corporation, the company. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay. You have brought that suit, and you are in fact suing those individuals based on the incident that occurred on April 26th of 2015. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Now, I want to kind of get to the crux of this. I want to ask you questions about the incident, but would I be correct in saying that at no time on either April 25th, 2015, or April 26th of 2015, did you ever see Jeffrey Williams? That true?
That's true.
All right. In fact, based on the lawsuit that you filed, you know that on the night of April 25th into April 26th of 2015, you know that Jeffrey Williams was hundreds of miles away when this incident occurred. Don't you know that?
I don't know that.
All right. That's not information that you've garnered during the course of your lawsuit?
It's been a lot. I don't try to recollect all that stuff.
You don't know what's going on in the lawsuit that you brought?
Yeah, I do.
I sustain the objection.
Okay. Is the company that you were driving for that night, Pioneer? Is that right?
Yes.
Are they party to the lawsuit against Jeffrey Williams?
No, they're not.
Okay, it's just you, right?
Yes.
And that is a $30 million lawsuit that you have brought against someone that you didn't even see that night. True?
True.
Matter of fact, Brian Birdman Williams, didn't see him that night either, did you?
No.
Okay. If I heard you correctly, you were not able to describe to the police or any detective or anyone any description of anyone who did any shooting on the night of the 25th going into the 26th. Is that true?
That's correct.
You didn't see anyone, did
That's
you?
correct.
In fact, when you were when you testified earlier about this person who walked up to you and asked for Al, you remember that?
Yes.
You didn't give a description, or you weren't asked to give a description of that person to the police at any point, were you?
No.
Clear something up for me. You said it was odd that the person came and asked for Al, right?
Right.
Your name is Al, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And today is not the first time that you have been called upon to give testimony about the incident of the 25th and 26th. Is that true?
This is the first time I called to testify, yes.
Have you had a deposition as part of your $30 million lawsuit
Yes,
against
I have.
Mr. Williams?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And in that deposition, you were asked questions by attorneys, correct?
Correct.
And you were asked to recount the incidents or the incident on the 25th going into the 26th. Is that true?
Yes,
All right. And you were able to recount and give them as many details as you could remember from that night.
as I remember, yes.
All right. Now, this is 2015, or the incident is 2015. So we're talking about
9 years.
About 9 years ago. Is that
Yes.
true? And it's fair to say that it's a very traumatic incident, right?
Very much so.
So much so. I mean, obviously, I've noticed that you've been upset. And you were crying out. You were upset. I understand, as you've been testifying about this. Isn't that right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Now, the 911 call that we heard a little bit earlier. True to say, that was you on that 911 call, right?
Yes,
And you were able to hold it together. You were very calm when you were making that 911 call. True.
true.
You were able to give whatever details you gave during that 911 call very calmly while the bus was being shot at, right?
Yes,
Okay. And I heard, you tell me if you heard the same thing, on the 911 call, when you were giving the description about this white car and a white truck, there was someone in the background who was kind of telling you, yeah, it was a white car or something like that. Do you remember hearing that?
yes.
Who was that person that was talking to you at that time?
Probably was Jim.
Probably.
He was the one next to me. There was like 12 people on the bus, so I'm not sure who was the one behind me in my ear, but it probably was Jim, which was next to me.
That would be James Mulvey, right?
I don't know his name. I know him from Jim. I don't know his full name.
Okay, Jim, though, is a person that we've described as the security guy, right?
Yes.
He is Lil Wayne's security person.
Yes.
Okay, now, so we hear who you think is Jim talking to you, giving a description of a car, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, and we heard your 911 call. What about Dwayne Carter, Lil Wayne? Where was he when this was going on?
Objection made when what was going on.
All right,
Standing objection. You can rephrase, sir.
I will, thank you. When the shooting was going on or when you were making that 911 call, where was Lil Wayne?
He was somewhere on the bus. The curtain was drawn. I can't look behind myself and dodge bullets. So I don't know. That was not my concern at the time. My concern was to make sure that the bus was safe so everybody would be safe.
Do you know whether or not he called 911 at any time while this incident was taking place? Do you know?
That Wayne did?
Yes, sir.
I don't know that.
Okay. Let me jump back a little bit, okay? Because I heard you say that you drove from Miami to Atlanta on the night of the 25th or the day of the 25th, true?
Yes.
Okay. So you drive to Atlanta, and instead of going to the Mandarin Hotel, because you guys had been on the road for 9.5 hours and it was almost time to be at the club, you went directly to the club.
Yes.
Okay. You park the vehicle. Mr. Carter, Lil Wayne gets off, and he ends up going inside of the club, the compound, right?
Yes.
Okay. You are out there for a while. I think you said an hour to an hour and a half. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, a few hours, yes.
Okay. And essentially, you're waiting for Lil Wayne to get done, right?
Right.
I heard you describe the scene out there as you said there were all sorts of people out there on the road, on the street. Is that right? Outside the club.
Yes.
It was pretty crowded.
Yes.
There were a lot of people. All right.
Right.
And at some point, you got out and you kind of did a walk around at the bus before Lil Wayne came back to the bus. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, as you do that walk around, that's when this guy comes up to you and asks about Al. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And he was by himself.
There was another guy with. There's two of them.
Okay, so two came up initially.
Yeah, one was the talker, and the other one was, I don't know, he was with him.
Just there with him, right?
Yeah.
That's a bit different from what you said, from what the witness said on direct examination, but I digress.
Anybody else around those two guys?
Not that I recall.
Okay, so it wasn't that a whole crowd of 25 or 30 people came up to you. It was these two guys, one of whom asked you, where's Al, or is Al here, or something like that.
Yeah, that was, everybody went inside after Wayne went inside, everybody went inside.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right. 10 minutes later, you see these two guys, they kind of walk around the back of the bus, right?
Right.
All right. Nothing else unusual happens. after you see them walk behind the bus. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. But when Lil Wayne came back to the bus, he got on the bus and there were a bunch of at least 6 or so other people who were with him, people who were from the club, right?
Yes.
Okay. And these were not people who had been on the bus before.
To my knowledge, yes.
This was, Wayne was there, right?
Yes.
His security guy, Jim, was there, right?
Yes.
All right. And at least 6 just kind of random folks who came from the club with Wayne.
Correct.
You don't know anything about those people, right?
No.
Don't know who they were, right?
Right.
You don't know what relationship they had to either Lil Wayne or anyone else inside or outside the club, right?
Not at all.
Okay. You don't know what had been going on inside of the club because you weren't in there, right?
Correct.
You don't know what any of these 6 or 7 people were doing inside the club because you weren't in there.
Correct.
Now, what you didn't see Wayne have any sort of altercation with anyone outside of the club. You didn't see that, right?
No, that's not my. I don't work security, so that's not my job.
Right. I mean, you didn't see that.
Right.
Or you know that Wayne and these folks come back to the bus, they get on the bus, right?
Correct.
And if I heard you correctly, Wayne's manager seemed like he was kind of agitated, right?
Correct.
All right. And what you remember him saying, and excuse my language, was something to the effect of there's some nigger shit going on.
Correct.
All right. You don't know what he was talking about.
Having a clue.
You don't know what kind of SHIT he was talking about.
Having a clue.
All right. But these folks are on the bus, and then there is a police escort that takes you all to 285, correct?
Correct.
All right. While the police escort is coming with you guys, there is nothing suspicious, no cars or anything else around the buses. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. What you do know, though, is that when the police escort leaves, you guys get on 285, you started hearing shots coming, as you described, from the back of the bus, coming along the side of the bus, right?
Correct.
Right. Now, we've already talked about the fact that you saw flashes coming from the car, not the truck, the car, right?
Correct.
All right. You didn't see anyone hanging out the window, right?
Correct.
You didn't hear anyone saying anything, right?
Correct.
But you could tell that someone was shooting at the bus, right?
Correct.
Because you could hear it.
Correct.
Now, Mr. Short asked you some questions about what you saw. So I'm going to jump over that and just talk about when you got back to the Mandarin. And actually, let me make sure I clear something up. Because I heard you say that the cars pulled ahead of you and pulled to the side of the road ahead of the bus. Is that right?
Correct.
Did they both pull to the side of the road? Both of these 2 white vehicles?
I remember seeing one. I wasn't counting, but I remember seeing one at least.
Okay. So you saw 2 vehicles, but in terms of if we're talking about what you saw pulled ahead on the side of the road, we're talking about one car, one white car, right?
To my recollection, yes.
And that was a sports car, not the truck, right?
Right.
All right. And you noticed that, and then you all got off that exit right before that vehicle, correct?
Correct.
There was no one shooting from inside of the bus. Is that right?
No.
Did anyone come running up to the front of the bus? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? Anything like that?
Not at all.
Okay. You all eventually made it back to, and by the way, your phone call, your 911 call was before you all actually got back to the Mandarin. Is that right, sir?
That's correct.
Okay. And then, as you told Mr. Shard a little bit earlier, when you get back to the Mandarin Hotel, the police were there and you had an opportunity to talk to them.
Correct.
Tell me, where did Lil Wayne, I presume he got off the bus when y'all got back to the Mandarin, right?
Correct.
Where did he go?
Having a clue.
What about Jim Mulvey? Where did he go?
Having a clue.
What about the 6 or 7 or so people who were on the bus, who would have been on the bus when the shooting occurred and potentially been able to describe something to the police? Where did they go?
Having a clue.
Okay. The bus had to be towed back by the company, right?
Right.
And then, and you didn't see anyone, you didn't see those white cars again when you got back to the Mandarin Hotel, did you?
No, I didn't.
And is it fair to say that when you got back to the Mandarin Hotel, you get out of the bus and when you talk to the police, are you talking to them right there outside by the bus?
Yes.
Okay, because you were showing them the damage to the vehicles, to both vehicles, true?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, wasn't there a crime scene person who showed up that you interacted with?
I don't recall that.
Okay. You remember talking to a police officer or detective, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there was no one around the bus at that point when you get back to the Mandarin to whom you were asked to describe or anything like that, right?
I just talked to the detective or the officer.
All right. So it's fair to say that you were on the bus when the shooting occurred and you're able to describe what happened during that shooting and after, but that's all you know, right?
That's all I was involved with, yes.
Right. And so in terms of who did that shooting, right? Who was shooting at that bus? You don't know, do you?
From the 180-page police report, it identified who did the shooting.
I'm asking you what you know, sir, because you were the witness, right?
Exactly.
You were the one who was present, correct?
Correct.
You were the one who was in that bus, right?
Correct.
You were the one who saw that white car, right?
Correct.
You were the one who did not see anyone or could not identify anyone in the white car, right?
Correct.
Right. So I don't want to ask you about what any police officers told you or what they came up with, but in terms of what you know,
right?
You don't know who shot at that bus.
Never said I did, correct.
You don't know why anyone shot at that bus, right?
Is there a real reason why? I don't know. No, I don't know the real reason why.
Right. And you would agree with me that it's probably pretty difficult to shoot at a bus on April 25th, 26th on I-285 from Louisiana, right?
Let me think. Yeah, that's pretty difficult. Yes.
Yeah, because you know that Mr. Jeffrey Williams, person who's sitting over there, was in Louisiana when all of this occurred. You know that, don't you?
No, I don't.
You do not?
No.
Okay. Did you allege that? Or did you confront that issue in your civil suit when the depositions were being taken?
I didn't allege that he was, I don't know where he was, so I don't know that.
When did you file the lawsuit?
About 2 years after this incident happened.
Okay, so 2015 is the incident, and about 2017 or so is when you filed the civil lawsuit and started receiving information and discovery in that lawsuit, right?
Correct.
Okay. Give me 1 second, Mr. Lewis. Just gonna have a second, please.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they have the plea deal from Mr. From Peewee.
Thank you. Any further?
They have the plea deal. Here's the thing. I think it's worthless, that plea deal, because he was looking at life in jail, life in prison. They offered him first a plea deal of 20 years, 10 years in the slammer and 10 years probation. That was overturned because the plea deal was flawed. And that was in 2018. In 2020, he took a new plea deal of 7 years. And I actually say it out loud that I believe he took the plea deal because he knew that he either takes the plea deal or he stays in jail. And 7 years in prison is better than 2 years in Fulton County Jail.
Questions? All right, Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Lewis, good afternoon, sir.
Good
Just have a few questions for you. On April 25th and 26th, 2015, you were actually working for Pioneer, the bus company, correct?
Yes, I was.
And you were, at the time of this incident, you were acting and working within the scope of your employment, correct?
Correct.
You were on duty essentially, correct?
Correct.
Did you file a workers' compensation claim in connection with this case?
I don't recall that. I mean, I don't recall this.
You were not.
I was diagnosed with PTSD, so there's some things I don't recall. So that's one of the things I don't recall.
Here's the thing with the workers' comp. That is filed that should be filed both by him and the company. Should. And if he has insurance, that would kick in automatically. If he has that kind of insurance with the company, then that kicks also in automatically. But if you choose not to file for workers' comp, I think they have about a 2-year span where you can actually do that. So it might be after 2 years he tried. Wasn't technically an employee. Yeah, but when it comes to workers' comp, independent contractor, if they are even if they are working as an independent contractor, they own it. It still kicks in. It should kick in. So this is really weird because if the company, the Pioneer Bus Tour, whatever's, didn't do it themselves. Yeah, no, Kirsten. So he effed up and lost his window of opportunity. So that actually, in the time frame, if he forgot or if the company didn't do, if the company lied to him, I don't know. Then he kind of have to, because that's the only way he can get something out of it. But it's weird.
Because of this incident.
I understand.
Gotcha.
You don't recall whether or not you received any compensation as a result of any claim that you would have filed with workers' comp as a result of this alleged incident?
During that time, I don't recall a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Apt, go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Jay Apt. I represent Diamante Kendrick. Do you know who Diamante Kendrick is?
Haven't a clue.
Have you ever heard his name before?
No.
This gentleman sitting next to me in the black shirt and the tan jacket, do you recognize him at all?
No.
No? Do you have any knowledge that Diamante Kendrick was in any way related to the incident you've described?
I haven't a clue about that.
Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Anybody else? Any redirect?
Okay, yeah. That is just them saying, look, not one sitting here was a part of that incident. Ta-da! And now redirect.
On cross, Mr. Shard asked you a few questions as to why, about whether or not you wanted to prosecute. Do you recall him asking you that? That was the first gentleman.
Yes.
That, and you talked about having to do that because of your CDL license. Tell the jury, what were some of the requirements to maintain your CDL license and why you had to report this to the police?
Well, from what I was know is that, it's a commercial license and you just can't pick and choose not to talk to the police. They pull you over, you cooperate with them. And that's what I've been taught and trained to do. So that's what I did. And my company requires that, that we cooperate with authorities, in case of a report or something has to be taken. But just, I don't pick and choose to do that. Something was required as my job.
And you were also asked by Mr. Shard on cross-examination, again, about wanting to prosecute. When you were speaking to the police about what had just occurred to you, were you shaken up at the time?
Very much so.
What was actually going through your mind as you were talking to police and recounting what had just happened to you? Your Honor,
It's been asked and answered though, so let's move on.
Good call, Judge.
Mr. Adams asked you a number of questions about your lawsuit. Do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes, I do.
And he asked you, did you see Jeffrey Williams that night? Do you recall him asking you that?
Yes.
He also asked you, did you see Birdman that evening? Do you recall him asking you that? Why did you bring the lawsuit against the individuals that he named in your lawsuit? Why did you bring the lawsuit against those individuals?
Yes, sir.
And that brings us to sidebar counter 160. That's the first of today. Now, why did they call for a sidebar? Well, this goes to why do you do all the things? Well, that's because where the money is. If somebody named Peewee takes the plea deal, and they have some kind of association with other people, then you sue them too, because Peewee don't have jack crap money-wise, but the record label has, and Young Thug has. So that is why they bring in these people into the lawsuit. Now, if this lawsuit weren't a stayed lawsuit, which means basically nothing happens for years for some odd reason. I didn't know you actually could file a lawsuit as stayed, but apparently you can in Georgia. I would assume that since this is the allegation is this is a part of gang terrorism, gang criminality, stuff like that, they took the opportunity to let's bring them all into this lawsuit. And I don't think this is allowed. Should be. Should be. Let's skip ahead. Who is that guy in the mask? I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, Peewee, who took the plea deal, is vaguely associated with the YSL. Vaguely. But he is not on he's not on the payroll of any of the record label or Mr. Williams. So, yeah. This is a long sidebar. Here we go. Let's see what the decision was.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Does the lawsuit that you have filed have anything to do with your testimony here today?
No.
Asked and answered. That was the first within the first
person
5
of Jimmy
questions.
Winfrey, are you familiar with that name?
I've heard that name.
Okay. Did you see that person named Jimmy Winfrey on the night that this occurred?
I don't know. No.
Okay. Did you hear of that individual prior to this incident happening to you?
No.
And Mr. Adams asked you about Jimmy Winfrey. Is he a person named in your indictment?
In your lawsuit?
Excuse me, in your lawsuit. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes.
And are you aware of whether or not he pled guilty to an indictment involving this incident in Cobb County?
He pleaded guilty and he took a plea deal. Yes.
And do you know the charges for which he pled guilty to?
For shooting that, he was the one that shot at the bus, as far as I.
That's standing objection.
I'm asking, do you know the charges, not why he pled, but do you know the charges that he pled to?
I think.
I'll stand objection.
Yeah, this is her trying to get in his plea deal. with this. It's
Mr.
wrong with
Adams kept mentioning the $30 million lawsuit. Does that amount of money make you whole after what you went through on the night that this occurred?
I stand objection.
Your Honor, that's a bias question, and it goes.
Well, it's still improper as to the way you asked, or the way what it gets at. Already asked them.
You were asked about individuals on the bus and whether or not any of them ever talked to police. Did you ever see any of the individuals, once they got off the bus, come back out and speak with police?
I don't recall.
You were asked specifically about Lil Wayne. Did you ever see him, once he got off the bus, ever come back out and speak to police?
I stand objection.
While you were speaking with police, did you pay attention to what was happening on the street behind you or in front of you while you were talking to the police?
Objection, vague.
No.
So to your knowledge, do you know if any cars appeared at the hotel while you were speaking to the police?
That's the same questions if you want.
When you were speaking to the police, do you know if any vehicles came to the hotel while you were speaking to the police?
That I don't recall.
That you don't recall?
Hey, Parabellum, thank you so much. Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. That's very, very nice of you. The gifted memberships went to Daily Quick Bites, Rabid Roos Sevener, OBCNB, Melissa Seamock, and Ikel. Congratulations. You guys now have access to all my members-only content. And there's a ton of it. And you also should have access to my Discord. And for the rest of you, this is what keeps this channel afloat. Gifted memberships, being a member, it costs $3 a month, the occasional super chat, and once in a while I do fundraising streams where as I will do on the 10th during my birthday stream, I will hold a fundraiser for the Zachariah Anderson case. His appeal, because in my opinion, and most people I've ever talked to, says he was wrongfully convicted. So I will hold a fundraiser for him, and in that fundraiser, I will bring forth the Wheel of Regrets, and you will give, if the total gets to $100 to him and $50 to me, I will spin the Wheel of Regrets. And so that is something, you can see me suffer on Friday, okay? You can pay to see me suffer on Friday. Okay, thank you again, Parabellum. Let's get on with the trial.
You were asked by Mr. Adams if anyone from the back of the bus came to the front of the bus to kind of speak with you as the shots were being fired. Do you recall that line of questioning?
Yes.
As the bus was being shot up, what were the individuals doing? Or what could you hear the individuals doing on the bus?
I'm going to object to ask an answer.
I stand objection.
And lastly, when you all were driving up 285, was Travis behind you as you all entered onto 285, or was he next to you or somewhere else?
He was behind me.
He was behind you. And did he stay behind you the entire time from 285 to 400?
As far as yes.
And have you ever seen the indictment to which Mr. Winfrey pled to?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall? All right. Court's indulgence?
Yes, ma'am.
That was a poor redirect. Very poor. And again, I think the Peewee's plea deal is a scam. Because simply he would rather face 7 or 10 years in prison than a couple of years in Fulton County Jail. And I understand why. Because if this is actually all they have, they can't actually connect even Peewee to it because Peewee took off in a blue car, in a blue SUV. The cars shooting at the bus were white, a white Corvette and a white truck, according to this witness. A good defense lawyer at that time, with that testimony, should have been able to get those charges dropped. But welcome to Fulton County, where they're overcharged and then give you a plea deal for less amount of time.
On that night, prior to the bus being shot up, did you see anyone on your bus brandish a handgun at all towards anyone at the club compound or in your house? And that's on the night of April 26th.
No.
No. Thank you. That's no further questions.
Anything further, Mr. Adams? Mr. Shard, anything further? Mr. Matthews, anything further? Any other counsel? All right, may Mr. Lewis be permanently temporarily excused as a witness?
Yes, he permanently excused.
All right, Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Over here. I'm going to permanently excuse you as a witness. You're free to go about your duties and avocations. Just don't discuss the testimony of anybody except the attorneys in this case, and we thank you for your patience with us, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
I would assume they are taking lunch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how about some lunch?
Hello?
All right, excellent. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take lunch at this point in time. It's a little about almost 5 after 1. Why don't we be in recess until about 2:30? Okay, and then.
All right. And yeah, and as I stated to you all earlier, the rest of today I will do in a recap tomorrow morning, your time. We will catch up to today and make up to lunch tomorrow. Because I have work to do and it's 7 p.m. here. And yeah, today, I mean, the only thing today, as I saw, was that the case against Peewee should have been dismissed because they can't actually connect him to it. But yeah, he took the plea deal, and by that, screwing everybody else over. But I understand why he took it. Other than that, completely meaningless day of trial again. But we are getting used to that, aren't we? All right. What else do I have to say? Well, what I always say, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for allowing me to do this. And hug your family. Unless your family is crap, then screw them and give your love to the people who deserve it. I will send you over to Valhalla Awaits, who are doing the Karen Reed case. So you get another cluster F of a trial today. All right. Thank you again. I will see you all back here tomorrow at roughly 9:30 a.m. Thank you again. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.